Thanks for checking out this video. If you want to join in on the fun, you can head over to twitch.tv/nerdsofthewest, where we play board games live. I'm not kidding you, we actually play them live and you can join in. So I'll see you there.
Hello friends. How y'all doing? Welcome back with some more online board gaming action. While COVID is mostly sorted here in WA, we are still staying safe and just doing the best that we can with what we have, which today means playing a game that is currently live on Kickstarter. It's in its final days. They've got all their stretch goals up and ready to go. No, what's it called? Exclamation Peak Oil Profiteer. That's why I'm getting confused. You can check out the Kickstarter there, linked in chat. Is me. I'm Tom. I got a bunch of friends with me. Say hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
You probably know all these people. We got a Kai up here, got a Chris over there, Beck and Reese all above. This is a game all about corruptly managing oil and politicians and military and religion to make as much money as you can. This is Peak Oil Profiteer, the third game technically in the Peak Oil series from Two Tomatoes Games, but really it's fun little Euro style game with lots of player interaction. There are 5 actions in this game. Everyone selects their actions at the same time, so you're not all judging based on what other people have done. And those 5 actions are networking to get more bribery and control more people. You can only do that if you control 3 or less people. Selling weapons to gain money and move more of these lovely troops from over here onto the board. And as you do that, each of the 3 factions gain more power, and suddenly they will charge you more money to sell oil or to buy oil from them. Look at that. 3rd action, buy drilling rights. 4th action, sell oil. Gotta have the oil to sell the oil. And finally, contingency, which means you will get to use special events and special people like this lovely guy here, the transport expert. If you take contingency in this first round, you will get him, and he will let you sell oil from any port, ignoring all of these pipelines. As we go along, we will explain what we're doing. There's a lot going on in this game, so everyone will have to be explaining what they're doing for their individual turns. But for now, hello Coda, hello Paper Waster, hello everyone else. How are we all doing? Hey Devo, what's happening? Anyone else want to say? I feel like I'm talking a lot. How are you all
everybody
doing?
How is everyone?
Hey Tom, did you remember to tell Jordy that we had started streaming?
I did.
Alright, cool.
Oh, look at those sexy diamond thingy guns.
Just
so nice.
you know.
They look amazing, don't they?
You too, chat, can get those diamond finger guns if you give us more money.
Yeah, I'm probably jealous of those diamond finger guns.
They are
I'm not
pretty
gonna
nice.
lie.
Those ones
If
will
you go
probably
up the-
continue to go upwards. They will only ever be the high tier ones, simply because I can't think of anything better than diamond.
Oh, drink up.
No.
Thank you, Banana Bob.
Guess what you're not doing? You didn't sleep. How was Blood on the Clock Tower? Did anyone catch Coda playing Blood on the Clock Tower earlier?
No, I was
I caught a little
busy.
bit. I must be honest, I only caught a little bit. It's been a long day. I still have to drive and pick up equipment later on, so who knows what's going to happen. Alright, let's get into this game. We all have to select our actions secretly. Why can't I move? There we go. And if anyone wants to see anything at all, please just ask. This is Tabletop Sim. Not Tabletop Sim, Tabletopia. I can zoom right in. I can flip stuff over. Everything and anything can happen. What do I want to do for the first round, though? That is the...
Also, guys, before you move cards out of your hand, flip them in your hand so they come out face down.
That is a smart
That's a big brain play.
I'm playing Generic Inc., the white team. Reese, I believe you're the yellow team. The business...
I am the business company.
The business
we
company.
do the business.
The company.
And business is booming.
I make generic.
Generic ink. I like that.
Omnicorp, played by...
I am all of the corporations.
Didn't you guys make RoboCop? Is that...
I can't confirm or deny.
Netrunner kind of corporation names.
Yeah. Chris is Common Multinational, and Rebecca, who hasn't selected a card yet.
I am United Venture.
And
It's basically just because I'm trying to decide what to do.
that is fair. This all matters because each round there is a different order of priority. So for this round, if 2 people select the same action, Reese, as the business company, will go first if he's one of those people, all the way down the list. Unfortunately, for this round, it means Kai, as Omnicorp, is losing every time. But hey, maybe he's picked something that everyone else isn't picking. It's just another layer of player interaction in this game.
I can already see like the red string across the whiteboard, trying to figure out like, look, Tom's at the top of the thing, but he's probably looking to do this, so I better not pick that. What if I do this? Like that's already that layer of.
Let's see how that goes. As this is a what's the term? Simultaneous action selection game. The way you find out who is doing what is by asking who's doing action number 1, who is doing networking. Flip over your cards if you're doing networking.
No one.
That's a no one. All right.
No networking. Okay.
Ooh, no one wants to get some bribery cards and take over more politicians. We all do start with control of 1 politician. I currently have control of the government military. Yes, military. It's got the hat and the anchor symbol, which means if anyone wants to sell oil in this area here, currently controlled by the government, I will get $10 from them for that sake. But what it also means is Kai over here, as the government oil and politician leader, gets to place oil rigs for free if the government controls that area, which I believe they're about to, seeing as action number 2 is sell guns. Who's doing sell weapons?
I'm selling some weapons.
I thought that might be
We're
the
all
case.
selling some weapons.
Wow. Okay.
We all went in on that. All right, so
Look, there's only one way to start a proxy war, alright?
I'm staying out of this. All right, that's you
no,
guys.
you're just
all
making
do
the
your
money from us selling the weapons later on.
thing.
Because,
Exactly.
all right, well, let's see what happens here.
Businessman never jumps headfirst into
Tiebreaker.
an oil war.
An investment.
Tiebreaker, it will be Chris, then myself, then Beck, then Kai when it comes to selling weapons. Chris, which faction would you like to sell weapons to? I believe you can only sell weapons to a faction you control.
That is correct.
The leader for, yeah. So I'll
Yep.
be selling to the blue faction. What are they called again? The National Liberation Front.
The NLF. And
So
Chris,
it's gonna
you
cost
can run through this whole scenario.
Oh no, hang on. So the first thing I'm looking at is on the bottom right hand side of the board here. The troops that are available to deploy take up slots on this tracker, and the rightmost slot is the corresponding sort of table that you're looking at here. So for example, I'm selling weapons. Am I doing this right?
You go from the rightmost cube.
Yeah, so here is the cube I'm looking at here.
Yep. So you will get $6 dues.
So what I'm
$6
doing is
million
I'm
dollars.
taking this cube, which is corresponding to the second last column.
I believe that's correct. Government currently pays you
8 or is it 6?
3.
I
Yeah.
think
No, it's 6. It's the rightmost cube, not the rightmost empty
over
square.
on my money tracker over here on the left hand side, I'm pushing myself up to $11 squillion.
Yep.
Nice.
And I'm selling weapons to this faction. Now, what I do is I put that into the existing faction where there is already troops of the same faction deployed. Now I'm rolling a 6-sided dice. 1 to 5 are indicated on the edges of this border, and that troop will move into the newly decided border. Or if I roll a 6, I get to choose. So 4 corresponds to this side, so that new cube is actually moving into this faction, this border here, this country, I guess.
Well done, blue team. You did.
Now, blue team is controlling an area with some oil.
What a shame. Are you the only one who controls the blue team at the moment? You are. It's a really interesting setup that at the moment 3 of us control brown and then 1 each of the other. So maybe taking control of brown's a good thing, maybe not. What it means is the reason I went for this action is because I was higher up on the tiebreaker. I knew I would get the most money from this. So I'm going to do the same thing as Chris. Going to black this cube down here, get myself up to $11 dues, and then roll that dice. Now I rolled 6, so I can choose anywhere I want to go. I could go and take control of this oil well up here with my up there, but fairly sure I could get one of these other chomps to do that for me, seeing as there's only so many places they can go. I'm gonna move and start a fight, possibly with blue, share some space up there, and because I've moved into this area, I get myself an extra $2 dues. Playing the corruption game really well.
Whenever any troop from any faction is moved into one of these 2 areas, the person who did it gets 2 million.
Extra money. Heck yeah.
Alright, moving on.
To me. Now,
Agreed player.
I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. So I am selling weapons. However, because I have this token, he's actually the religious leader of the government, and I think he feels that Kai shouldn't really be in control of our political leader. So he's going to go ahead and stop that.
Oh.
So what Beck has done there is before you take your action, you can blackmail or use religious leader. Blackmail, you would have to have a blackmail card, and there's a whole scenario there which changes depending on if another person has a blackmail card. But what's Beck done is use the religious leader, and she's like, I'm the goodest, give me your power. And Kai
Anyway.
can't stop that.
Yeah. Sorry, Kai.
Bit of a
So you
dick
put the
move,
religious
but a great
leader
move.
token into the
That
middle of
leader
the
was
table.
incredibly religious, I'll have you know. He followed the only god that matters, the god of money, alright? The
Not
old
religious
Benjamins.
enough.
All praise
Not
capitalism.
All right. So because I still control brown, I'm going to go ahead and place a... Now, from what I recall, I can put it into any brown-controlled space.
Yes, you can.
So I'll be putting it into this space here,
Yep.
and then I'll be rolling this dice.
Remember to get your
Six.
$5 dues from selling weapons, first of all.
Indeed. Perfect. Now, the one thing I'm I rolled a 6, which means I can place them anywhere. I'm just very
Aha, what a
keenly
bloody
aware of the
legend.
fact
Here's some
that
finger
Brown
guns.
doesn't actually
Pew, pew,
control
pew,
any
pew, pew.
oil rigs. So, I think we should go ahead and put it here.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Design a cardboard. Thank you very much for the follow. When Nerds of the West, say hello, friends.
How's it
Hello.
going?
Tom,
Hey, man.
I
How
have
you doing?
I have a question. So with the you may have just already explained this and I've just wasn't listening. With the $2 gun card,
Yes.
gun symbol, is that only when you move into that space?
Yes,
or
not when you place in. It's just when you move in with
Yep.
the roll of the dice.
No, that's cool. Cool. Carry on.
Now, Kai, a little bit
So now I
unfortunately for
am
you.
no longer able to sell weapons because I don't have my in anymore. He was converted.
Wallow.
Actually, one thing I will say is the flavor text that they describe it as is actually I have organized for you to be murdered,
Oh,
and then my religious leader takes over as the political
okay.
leader.
Wow.
So-
Okay.
Game gets pretty
got
hard
a bit of
pretty
a
quick.
cult together, murdered the democratically elected leader of this country. I would just like you to know that when this spirals into chaos and corruption, you're to blame.
I know.
So I can no longer sell weapons. So this card comes back to my hand because it is now useless to me.
If
And
Kai
I
could
can't-
somehow bribe, he could try and do that before he takes his action. But seeing as he has no bribery cards and no religious leaders, we skip over that.
Yeah. Could I bribe without a... Like, if I don't have a blackmail card, I could choose to bribe someone still, couldn't I?
Yeah.
You could, if
I could
bribing
afford.
bribing leaders is part of the networking action. Blackmailing is what you do before your action. It's two different
Yeah,
terms
right.
that started with B, and I got them confused.
Okay. So if you get blocked from your action, you can only blackmail, not bribe.
Not bribe.
Is that right?
Blackmail or use the religious leader, just like Beck did.
Right. So instead, my card gets replaced with the contingency card, which gets... I mean, everyone knows that's what it is, but it goes face down until we reach the contingency stage, and then I take that action.
So, is anyone buying or selling oil? Which is probably not, seeing as no one controls the ability to buy or sell right now.
No.
So I have to guess that we go to contingency, and Reese, would you... Oh, look at that! Oh, who would have guessed?
And he snuck in under him.
So Reese, take your action.
So as contingency, I take consultant or resolve event action and discard the event. Well, I'm going to take the consultant as we don't have an event there. So I get the transport expert, which has you may sell in any oil port disregarding pipeline.
What a jerk.
Yeah, so what
That is
that
great.
means is just a quick overview. To sell oil, they go to ports that they're connected through, the lines of pipelines. I disregard pipelines.
You somehow
can
just
do-
teleport the oil from one side of the country to the other.
Bro,
You bring
I
in a
am a
bunch of oil
transport expert. I know what the dealio is.
Yeah.
Though, the ports and the oil still need to be occupied by
A force of some kind.
a force of some kind. So, there you go.
Nicely done.
And then, because Omnicorp is the redheaded stepchild of the corporation world, and everyone just enjoys beating on them, I now also can't take a contingency card because there aren't any left. So instead, I get $5.
At least it's something.
Nicely done.
Or
Hey, don't worry.
Omnicorp.
Don't worry, Kai. I'm the poorest at the table at the moment with my $5 million.
Oh no, look at you controlling a port and able to sell at any port that you want. Who would have thought that combo might be really good?
Nice.
And that is a round of Oil Profiteer. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch it. No. Start of a round, we flip a contingency card. All players will select an action, and we go again. So we take this contingency card, we flip it over. It's another consultant. Because of the way the game is set up, you always start with 2 consultants at the start of the deck. When you sell oil, you may move 1 troop first. So if you want to control some more areas, you can get right in there.
really cool.
Or maybe control a port. That's the word I'm looking for. Port.
And 2 things of note. Firstly, now that the order has changed, actually Omnicorp is looking quite good for priority this round. So there you go, Kai. Second thing is, in between rounds, if the corruption track had reached 100, is that triggered the end of the game right then and there, or is there one more round?
It triggers the game right then and there, I believe.
Okay, so watch out for that.
But at the moment, corruption stays at 93, and we all have to select new cards.
Mhm.
I'm very keen to see this played all the way out. I think there's going to be a lot of player interaction of when and where you take the actions to take control of other people's things, which just adds a really nice layer onto the generic buy and sell and trade kind of Euro game.
I'm getting like.
Why are you moving my card?
War. Is it War of Shadows? The
War of Whispers.
War of Whispers. I'm getting like War of Whispers vibes from this, which I really dug that game when we played it. Like,
Oh, War of Whispers is
in our free
so
time.
thick.
I'd really like to play that on stream.
It will be coming to stream soon.
Yeah, I'm really, really digging this game right away.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, let's go with action number 1. Who has done some networking?
Your boy.
Yeah,
Reese
they have.
And Tom as well.
I'm not sure where my card has gone.
It's on the left of you.
It's next to your
Oh.
card.
Did I put that there, or did someone move it?
I
Someone
think
moved
Beck
it.
moved it. Beck's been a bit of a...
It looked
Bit
like
of a
from my
butthead.
card was gone. I was very confused. I am also networking because,
Ooh.
as you may have noticed, I had no influence
Fair.
with anybody.
Fair.
My guy on the inside was killed in his sleep.
And
Bye.
don't forget it.
Poor
A
Omnicorp.
cult
man.
leader. So I'm going to draw a blackmail card.
I've
that
accidentally
remains secret.
accidentally cheated. I've put the wrong card in. I thought one was the other.
No, that's all good. You grab what you need. It's not a problem.
Okay. Oh fuck.
Were you supposed to do action 1, or did you
No,
actually...
no.
Did you do sell oil instead of buy oil?
Yes. Exactly.
What? Chris controls the blue team and they control oil? Who would have thunked it?
I know.
Right,
Think you
so
did
I draw 1 blackmail card, correct?
Yep.
Can I then play it, or do I have to wait till
No,
next?
blackmail cards are only used before your action. And it's part of the
Right.
blackmail step. But then as
But I
part of
could
networking,
bribe now.
you can bribe. And you can pay money to either bribe a politician from the middle, I say politician, bribing leader from the middle for the cost listed by their troops up here. So if you wanted someone from the blue faction, it would cost you $3 dues. If you wanted someone from the red, it would cost you 2 million, I should say. Or you could bribe someone that someone else controls. If you wanted your brown leader back from Beck, you could pay both the bank the $4 dues and then Beck the $4 dues to take that leader away from her.
Gotcha. Look, I don't want that scumbag murderer in my. I have standards here at Omnicorp. So instead, I'm going to start my own army with blackjack and hookers, and I'm going to bribe the political leader of the glorious URFMF. Is there anything what that stands for? Like the United Resistance Front of.
Look, I've managed to put something together, but it's not safe for work.
So I'll spend $2 to recruit this gentleman.
Nicely done.
What's the name of your leader?
It is
Wilhelm.
Sergey.
Okay.
It's Bob. Bob the leader.
Bob the Brown.
yeah, it is.
Bob the leader. Can you bribe
All right, well,
it?
next in the order is Business Company, because United Venture is not taking part in some networking events today.
No, ma'am.
Business Company,
Business
who would you like to
Company,
bribe? I mean, give some money to in their political and military
Do I
campaign.
not draw a blackmail card?
I mean, yeah,
first?
obviously do that first, but
He's too excited.
I want to see, because what you choose then very much influences what I choose.
Cool. I'm gonna bribe the
Bribe a religious leader? No,
Yep.
God.
bribe my own religious leader.
Gotta have both of them in your back pocket, you know.
Yeah, just look, I'm playing the long-term game here. All right, so you'll just don't worry about me. I am
Oh, good.
but a lowly farmer tending to his fields.
Chat, this
Cool.
is what bribery cards look like. Couldn't show you before, but there you go. I am very glad that you did that, Reese, because I will be paying $3 dues to take control of the NLF's political leader. Because political leaders will let you build oil rigs for free. But now we move on. Is anybody placing troops this round? Would anyone like to sell weapons? We move on. Is anybody buying drilling right?
I am.
Yeah.
Look at this. Beck will get to go first, but you two aren't fighting over drilling rights, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Rebecca, let's run through some buying drilling rights. What would you like to do?
So, first and foremost, I'm just going to clarify, because I am control of the political leader of the glorious the government, I don't actually have to pay for the drilling rights in the areas. So I believe I can take one of these and just pop it right there.
Yep, that is exactly it. Beck now owns the drilling rights, and next turn she could sell said drilling rights if no one else somehow takes it away from her. It is doable, but unlikely, seeing as she has a troop currently controlling that area.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, to stop Beck gaining oodles of money, you have to sort of set yourself back, spending your turn trying to disrupt it.
But
The
also,
other really interesting thing, because I do have the rules open here, is if you want to take this away from me, you need to pay me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just get to steal it, you have to pay me for it.
the other interesting thing is to then sell the oil next turn. Beck has two choices of ports. Either this one over here, which is currently in control of no one, where she would only get $15 because there is no one controlling the port. It's just going through the black market and not going through a lot. Or she can sell through the port controlled by the brown team for $30 currently, but would have to pay me 10 of that dollars. So there's a bit of a toss-up and a bit of working together there.
Wait, why do I have to pay you 10 of those dollars?
Because I control the military leader, I control the brown team's port.
Very important, that military leader.
Interesting. Okay.
And Chris, where are you currently building for the blue team?
Of course, Blue Corp. I forgot what it was called.
The NLF.
the NLF is selling the rights to the glorious common multinational corporation to build drilling stations in this section here.
All praise the NLF, am I right?
All praise NLF. And I'll take this back into my hand.
If you have to put liberation in your name, you're probably not liberating anybody, right?
That is the end of the round. We flip over another contingency card. Blah. It is another, what are they called? Consultant. This time, anytime you sell weapons, you do not need a matching leader. Instead, each matching leader earns you an extra $1.
Wow, that's cool.
Power up your money game.
Super black market weapons right there.
Get in, boys. Get your cards out. I can very quickly, like, the turns in this game seem to go very quickly. I can see this game, especially if the right event cards come out, rushing through pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know when destabilizing an entire region for profit will turn sour.
Yeah, who would have thought that all these weapons will end up being a bad thing?
Could be 5 years, could be 20. If only we had some sort of real world analog
you're
to
really putting the
judge that
reality
against.
into this fantasy game, Kai.
Yeah, I don't think this ever happened in the real world.
No.
Fantasy.
What even is a banana republic?
Isn't that a clothes shop?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is in the US.
Yeah.
Capitalism. All right, who's doing what? Anyone networking? Let's go, baby.
Bam!
Ah,
Oh.
Rebecca.
Ooh.
Rebecca with the plays.
So I take one.
Yep.
Into my hand. And I cannot play it because I've only just digged up the dirt.
Yep, you've already passed through the blackmailing step.
But I may pay to bribe a leader.
Absolutely, you can. It will cost you $3 dues to bribe a blue leader and $4 dues to bribe a brown leader, of which there is only the religious leader.
Or 2 for a red leader, as long as I pay 2 to that corresponding player.
You just set them up and knock them down. Or I just
Red
forgot
leader
that was an
standing
option.
Red leader standing by.
You know what? For the content, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pay 4 for this
Wow.
one,
Ooh.
and then a further 4.
For to me.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a play. That's a play.
So you can take both leaders with one swoop.
I mean, I did.
Interesting. Okay.
But
Wow.
she only took one leader.
Technically, I only took 1 leader, but because
Yeah.
I took it from a player, I had to pay that player.
Oh, so you have to pay the bank and the player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yikes.
Because
Okay.
you're essentially paying the leader itself and the company that had originally bribed the leader.
Okay.
I've just convinced Tom he doesn't need him anymore.
I really
Yeah.
wanted him, but at the same time, you're not selling oil this round, so it's not that crazy.
I was at the bottom of the stack. It was like
Anything could happen.
anything could happen.
Anything can happen on
Halloween.
Oh my god.
Alrighty.
I'm not sure where
Um,
you got your information before, Beck, but you pay money when you're buying out another player to the bank.
Oh, so you don't get the money?
You don't get the money. If you don't manage to sell your oil in time and you lose your leader and someone else comes in to take it from you, you miss out. You want to get that oil and sell it as quick as you can.
Okay, so hang on, I'm confused. Do you have 14 million or do you not?
I have 14 million at the moment. This is for oil, for buying out the oil rig, not for buying out the
Right.
leader. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
But for bribing, yeah, you had to pay me for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Adam.
All right, we move on to round number 2. Sell weapons. Anyone? Anyone?
Yep.
Anyone? Ooh.
To selling weapon.
Oh,
Fine, Kai.
Kai will get to sell weapons first.
God damn it, Kai.
Looks like-
I knew you were going to do that.
That's okay, man. Look, we're fighting for the same team here, right? Like, we have both got the glorious United Rebels front of males and
Friends.
females.
Uh,
And
Screw anyone
We're
non-binary. They
gonna-
don't get to take part in our war.
we're gonna arm them to the teeth and take down this whole place. So it's actually kind of a good thing that you get second because I'm only getting. Oh no, sorry, it goes the other way around, doesn't it? So I
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
so I get 6.
You
yeah,
get more.
you're better. Yeah.
Why can't I have 6 money and no child?
And then he goes here. We roll the dice, Saruni. 5. So he goes and hangs out up here.
Is that exactly where you wanted him?
Look, my corporate strategies are private, and
Yeah,
the
mind your own
intern that
business,
leaked
Tom.
that PowerPoint presentation was chopped up and put in a 40-gallon drum. So
Too real,
I don't
man.
have to
Too
answer any of
real.
these questions.
Too real.
Why is that too real?
Look, man, I'm all about the murder, but I'm not saying why I want the murder happening. Is this on Tabletop Sim? I don't know if there is a version on Tabletop Sim. This version is on Tabletopia, and Tabletopia is pretty solid, I must admit. I haven't used it a lot, but it is pretty good.
This is
There's
my
no
second
option to
time,
flip the table.
This is my second time using Tabletopia, and I think it's like on par with Tabletop Sim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
the-
few discrepancies you gotta like get your brain out of that work differently to Tabletop Sim, but overall, I think I prefer it. Definitely
I wish
use
they had the same hotkeys,
yes,
but otherwise,
definitely use the Steam version if you're in Australia, because connecting to their servers over Chrome or anything else just does not work. Hey Reese, move your troops. Do the thing.
All right, so I can pick to put them in any occupied space, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna put a troop here. I gain $5 dues, up to 8.
this is what we call corporate synergy. Fruity snacks.
Moves in here. They fight, and they both die. Let me know if I'm moving too fast.
No, that is exactly what happens. So now, because Beck doesn't lose her drilling rights there, but because that area is no longer controlled by a faction, if she were to sell oil, it would not make her as much money.
Oh no, back.
Sorry, Beck. Oh.
All right.
Beck's gone. She's like, nah. I don't know.
Looks up to camera, sees Beck's face. All right.
Uh,
well,
I was staring at you, by the way, because I can see you in Discord. I'm staring daggers.
I can't see Beck in Discord, so I can't actually see her because I'm trying not to cheat by watching the stream.
I can see that, Dance Commander. I definitely like Risk feel with a bit more like Eurogame and player interaction thrown in, which is not a bad thing. Out of all those like early known lifestyle basic board games, Risk is probably one of the few good ones. But we move on to buy oil.
Your days are numbered,
Drilling rights.
sir.
Who has done drilling rights? Oh, look at that. I have bought drilling rights.
All right.
Because I control the political leader for the blue guys, costs me nothing. Slap that bad boy in. Let's go, boys.
Very cool. Very cool.
Moving on to selling oil. Griswold,
Me.
I have to imagine this is what you've done.
I did indeed sell oil. You read me like a fiddle.
Crazy.
And played
And
me like
how
a
would you like to sell oil?
At the most cost-effective. Actually, before I do, and I need your advice, Tom, because I'm kind of I can exchange this religious leader token that I have for any token on the board, right?
Yes.
Of
So-
that faction.
Theoretically. Oh, of the same faction.
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Ignore, disregard.
I see
Abort,
what
abort,
you're about
abort.
to do.
Yeah. Do you see what I was about to do?
Yeah.
It's all right. Just rest assured, Beck, that I didn't do it because I wasn't able to do it.
Oh, I have just double checked a rule, and I have cheated ever so slightly because I misread a rule. If you place the new troop into one of the rich regions, not when you move the troop in, it is when you place the troop into the gun with the thing.
Ah,
so I have 2 less dollary dues, and Beck has
Okay.
2 more dollary dues.
More, yeah, okay. Oh,
Wait.
okay. So if you already control this area, for
And you place another troop in, you get more money.
yeah, so you're
Right.
bolstering.
Not when you move in.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even question it. I was.
No, for sure. It
Well,
did.
I control this blue drilling region over here with my blue political leader, and I am sending it down the pipeline to the greatest profit margin area, which would be the brown faction, which Beck has the military leader.
These areas do have names, but they are all in white, which is very hard to read on this screen.
Oh, is it actually?
Oh my god, you're right.
Where?
Oh.
This
Yeah,
area is just called
I-
the government, but other areas, it's like the eastern mountains, the desert, the blah blah blah.
Oh god, I
This
can't
is
even read
the
that.
region west.
Cannot read it. If the designers are watching, maybe make the text black, but I understand that could also be cluttered. It's a hard one to
Or
judge.
outline it in black.
Outline's a good idea. Anyway.
Oh yeah, so that's
Yeah,
capital.
government headquarters area. So the rate of exchange for oil here is actually $33 dues, which is excellent. It's way more than 15. However, I will be paying back 10 of those dollary dues. So
Yep.
we both profit in the end. I'll take 23. You can have 10.
I'll up to.
But in doing so, you remove your oil rig from that area. You have sold that oil barrel. So you will have to place oil there again and begin the loop of whatever this loop is called.
There we are, Beck. I wasn't trying to steal your political leader. I was helping you all
I
along.
didn't think you were at all. It's totally fine.
All right. Well, that concludes.
Yep.
Common
No one.
Multinational Corp's turn.
No one else is doing anything because everyone else has done everything. So we start a new round. Another consultant. At the start of each round, take $2 per political leader you control. It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Oh,
Interesting.
blimey.
Everyone picks their actions. How you doing, chat? What is everyone doing this weekend? What is going on? How you been? What's the happy haps in your happy place? Hope it's a happy place. I get to play D&D tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. It just means I have to go and pick up all my equipment because normally we stream and I can just grab the equipment and then like after stream it's all good. So today or tomorrow I have to drive all the way over to said place, get the equipment. Chris is always sus. Chris is just a sus bloke.
I am rather sus.
Yeah,
Chris
pick
is
up the
a
equipment so we can play D&D.
Hold on. I actually have the perfect way to describe Chris. I just need to remember. Chris is a cunning delegator. That's what he is.
I am a cunning delegator. How funny was that? I think I must have already showed that to you.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Hey, Kev, maybe you'd like the podcast, Debbie Dragons. Just saying. Maybe you want to check that out. It's only a podcast and not a video podcast, but still good. Who's doing what, guys? Who wants to take action number one and maybe bribe some people or do something else? What's the happy haps? Anyone? No. All right. Action number 2. Moving troops.
No one.
No one's selling weapons.
Interesting.
This is gonna be rough, especially seeing as if both of you are buying oil rights, Reese is going to get to go first.
Alright.
Buy drilling
so we're up
rights.
to 3, right?
Action number 3.
It's me. And oh god, and Reese. Wow.
Rough.
Cool.
Well, we'll go through the list, starting with Reese. Where would you like to buy?
Before I take my action, Tom, I'm going to attempt to blackmail Kai's political leader.
Reese, you have the religious leader. You can just take him.
Yeah,
But
you
if
could,
I have
but
all
then you-
3, I
You
control
can't
the
use
entire.
you can't use the religious leader for anything else, though.
I know,
True,
but
it
I
also
want to
stops
hold on
someone
to the
else
religious
using it.
leader. Yeah,
All right.
this is what I want to do.
That
this is
is
the play.
such a dick move. Kai, do you have the corresponding card to block that? That's a no.
No, he does not. Oh, the cold shoulder.
Dude, Kai is getting got.
Or Omnicorp.
Pleasure
Wonderful.
doing business with you, Kai.
Oh Oh my
Alright.
god, that was amazing.
So then I will put drilling rights for free here.
Oh man.
What happens to the political leader card? Does that just
Discard pile.
stay there?
Look at you. You've
Yeah.
started your own discard pile. I'm so proud of you. He's such a nice guy, Reese. He's just so friendly when you're playing games.
Isn't he? Especially to Kai.
Just what a guy. What a guy.
I'm playing the long game, champs.
All right. Well, Kai. And no, it's Chris's turn first. Kai doesn't even get to choose what he's doing yet.
Me first. Well, I am buying the drilling rights to essentially the uncontested zone once more.
Crazy. Look at us
Yeah,
working
right.
together.
No one's harshing my mellow at the moment, so there's no reason to do anything else. Also, that costs money, doesn't it? So
It does, because you don't control the political leader. It will cost you, if we go over to drilling rights, because they have a couple of troops out on the board, it will cost you $6 dues for those drilling rights.
$6 dues, that's right.
So there's an
Yeah,
interesting balance there of you can send out someone else's troops if you're not necessarily going for their drilling rights to increase the cost to make them pay more in drilling rights.
Yeah,
There's a lot of indirect player interaction here, and I'm loving it.
I
Big
do
old
love-
Fs.
Yeah.
Hey, Kai.
so much-
What are you going to do? Would you like to try and blackmail someone? Or would you...
So the only way that I can steal Reese's drilling rights is if he controls none of the members of that faction. Is that right?
Unless you have a card to bribe it away from him or blackmail it away from him. But at the moment, yes. If you want to steal that oil well away from Reese, you would have to get rid of all of those, which you cannot do in one turn.
Okay, so
I don't care how the rest of the game plays out. I'm happy.
Shafted Omnicorp, and that's all it takes.
Admittedly, if you do just go to contingency, you will get someone, admittedly not that great for you. Take 2 per political leader control.
I know,
which,
but
considering that I am staying out of the politics game, apparently, isn't brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could do, though. That's the issue here.
So I can choose to blackmail now at the start of this turn, right?
Yeah.
If I swap my action for a contingency action at the start of that turn, can I blackmail?
I believe so, yes, because that is your action. Basically, right now, your choice is to try and blackmail so you can continue this action, which
Yeah.
I don't believe you can do because there is nowhere red can put an oil well down, or you move to a contingency, and at the start of contingency, you will get to do that action.
No worries.
All right. That was buy oil. We got to sell oil.
Bam.
Also ban. Beck will get to go first.
So, I believe I can take this oil barrel, collect it up here, and I'll be taking it down to the capital port to sell, which I do currently own the military leader for, which means when I sell my oil for 33, I keep all of it.
Yes.
Nice.
Well done, glorious government leader.
Oh,
Jesus,
what a bloody
that's
legend. His
47
finger
dollars.
guns. Pew, 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 pew.
Hey, Darkseid, how you doing?
Tom cut out, but I can still hear him.
Hey.
I'm cutting out
Hey.
because Beck's
Wait,
mic
where was
overrides
I?
mine. You're
Where
on
was
14 and you're getting 33. You can right click and go plus a certain amount to make
Yeah,
it
I
easier
did,
for
and
yourself.
it reset it. Hang on.
47 you should be on.
Yes.
I was on 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
How you doing, Darkseid? What is happening in your area
There we go.
of the world? Have you checked out this game on Kickstarter yet? It looks pretty good. I'm digging it. I'm also selling oil, which means Beck is going to make even more money because the only oil that I control is this one here, which comes down the pipeline through this other area, because somehow that's how pipes work, and ends up at the exact same place.
That's
So
exactly
I
how
will-
pipes work.
I will be making $33 dues, and then as soon as I have made $33 dues, I have to.
Tom?
I'm so lost. I was on 12. I should be on 45.
Yeah. And then 10 of those are being sent over to Beck.
10 of those being sent to Beck. Blah 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 blah. blah, blah. Well done, Rebecca.
Yeah, I had my
Wow.
menu open just to raise it by 10. So
Well played. Stealing that bad boy away from me at the start really ruined all of my plans.
that was my goal. Yeah.
I was not a fan. Well, ladies and gents, we've all got a little bit going on. A lot of us have some money, and Reese has no money. Look at him down there. But Reese controls a hell of a lot of political power right now.
My God.
Yes. All
I'm
for the
just-
same faction.
Guys, I'm the friend guy, right?
Oh.
I'm the guy you send in to be like, hey, yo, what up? It's your boy Fruity Snacks. We're here to make some deals, man. Might not have the money now, but I have it soon, brother.
Hey, Reese, do you happen to know how much money you've spent on Kickstarter in the last 12 months? Would you say it's more than $2,000 and you're not allowed to back things on Kickstarter anymore, which is entirely fair after you've spent $2,000 on Kickstarters?
Oh no, I'm still allowed to back things on Kickstarters. No one's stopping me from that. I
Here's
should
the
probably.
thing. Reese's Kickstarter addiction is so bad that he's now making me spend money on Kickstarters.
Or on
I
his
literally,
behalf.
I send Kai messages and I'm like,
Contagious.
Kai, bring money.
He sent me a link to a Kickstarter this morning and was like, Kai, bring money.
I have one girlfriend and no Kickstarter. Why can't I have no girlfriend and all Kickstarter?
Also, I had $300 come out of my account for a Kickstarter this morning. So,
Yeah,
Wow.
I feel that in my soul.
Jesus.
though to be fair, I don't think I've spent $2,000 on Kickstarters in the last 12 months. I think I'm close, but
You're
I don't
doing
think I'm
pretty good.
because I generally just get the standard editions. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shut up,
watch
Curve.
out.
Shut
Watch
up.
out.
Shut up. You
Ooh.
stay out of this, Curve.
Whenever you steal oil, you steal an extra $5.
Can I have my turn, or am I getting shafted out
Oh
of
yeah,
that
you're getting
too?
shafted. Screw you.
Steal oil, hey?
How do you steal oil?
I have my contingency. Come on. So at the start of this turn, I'm going to blackmail this military leader.
And seeing as Reese
For what?
has no blackmail cards.
Yeah, you
Very
can't
little
do
it's
it.
worth.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think that was an even trade for my political leader, but you know what? A man's got to do what a man's got to do. And then I shall take this contingency card and plonk that down here to get $2 per political leader I control at the start of each
Nice.
turn, which will at least be one of them.
Yeah, right. Not bad card.
Steel oil doesn't seem to be in the rulebook, but it is on the little help card. It seems to be another action that you can take when you sell oil. Instead of selling oil, you can steal oil and gain $10.
Oh no, okay. I think steel oil is the $10 that, because when you're the military leader, you technically steal the oil. That's why you get the $10, right? Like that's.
Is that right?
I think that's how that reads.
No, that's just part of the military leader faction. That's just an extra bonus for the military leader. It's not.
I got it.
It's not an extra action.
There are 8 instances in which steal occurs in the rulebook. So the first one is part of the steal sell oil. May happen that another player steals some of your oil and profits. Then we've got secure the help of the military leader to steal their oil. And then they're talking about contingencies. Yeah, it's if you have the military leader on that port.
Okay,
That counts as stealing oil when you
Yeah.
have to pay the
fair enough.
tax.
If you control the military leader of a faction that controls a port another player uses to sell the oil, the military repurpose some of the oil for you. So I would suggest to as a bit of feedback for the game so far.
Yeah.
If you are going to use the term steal, put it in your rulebook.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. just
Gameplay
for
pretty solid. Rulebook needs a little bit of work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
that
definitely
makes
what I
this
mean.
card even better. Whenever you steal oil, you steal an extra $5. So if you control the military leader, if you get $10 from someone else selling oil, you will get $15 from them instead. That's rough. That's
backbreaking.
powerful.
Wow. That makes it like not worth it unless you're going for the 33 or the 35.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more rough, and it means you want to stop that person having that leader.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Very interesting.
Right.
Cool.
What do I want to do?
Oh, we're now on to the next round, are we?
We are on
Yep.
to the next round, and I've got some very interesting choices because I can see everyone just slowly buying oil rigs, selling oil rigs, but that doesn't necessarily help you all the time because you're just giving some money to the people who control the ports. So I'm trying to decide the right way to get a bit more influence for myself in this game.
Hmm. Okay.
Let's do it this way. The first player this round will be Chris in terms of tiebreakers, and I will be going last, so it makes... I've had to weigh that up with what choices I need to make, which I thoroughly enjoy. It's very interesting. It also means that, like, with possibly Beck getting more money from stuff, that maybe you want to clear away those control over ports instead. It's a tough one.
Okay.
So everyone has selected their actions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. Number one, who is doing some networking?
I did it.
I thought you
also
might.
did it.
Oh my god.
Wow. A lot of networking going on. Okay, well, I'm first in the order of operations.
Order of operations: Chris, then Kai, and then Generic Incorporated.
So hang on, let me reassess my options. So we got blackmail or bribery. I'm gonna go blackmail. So I take one blackmail card.
No, so blackmail is you networking. You do both. You always draw a blackmail card, and then you will always get to bribe leaders as well. There is the option before your turn to use blackmail cards if you so wish.
Yeah, got it. Okay,
Yep.
so I've got a blackmail card. Now I can bribe leaders. I'm gonna take this one from the middle.
Religious.
So I want to bribe the religious leader.
Yep. So you need to pay $3 dues to the bank.
Yeah, $3. Okay, so 25, and I will take the religious leader.
Can you
for
move your
round.
hand so I can actually see that?
No.
Okay, I'm finished.
Nicely done. Kai.
Alright, I shall draw a blackmail. And then... Sorry, not a... Yeah, blackmail. And then I shall bribe... Quite torn about who to bribe here.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Do you want to...
I think it's going to have to be this religious leader here. So I'll pay 6 in total, and Reese can have 3 of those.
Nasty.
Ooh, it's swaying back.
Chris is in a really interesting position at the moment because he doesn't control any leaders, but he controls 2 religious leaders. So at any point, he could just be like, "Yeah, I want that from you. You're not allowed that anymore."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hurts, Kai. That hurts.
So Reese, oh, that hurts, does it?
Yeah.
We're telling Omnicorp.
You know nothing of pain.
I thought we were
At
friends,
Omnicorp,
apparently
we've-
not.
You were
Wait.
molded by it.
We've developed pain like you wouldn't believe.
This
Did you get your $2 for the start of the turn, Kai?
Oh, I did not. Thank you.
this military leader for the blue guys can possibly be really strong, but at the moment he's not. They're nowhere near any ports. So I'm going to take my blackmail card, and then I am going to bribe Rebecca and her leaders. Once again, paying the 6, paying
Excuse
3
me.
to Beck. And I'm just gonna take this guy back.
All right.
There we go. Alright, that is that action done. Is anybody putting more troops on the board to increase prices and control more area?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. Well, Rebecca, what would you like to do and where would you like to place troops? You're going to get $5 for selling weapons to the government, which is just hilarious to me, but we won't comment on the socio-political ramifications of that. If you place a cube into this area with the gun, you will get an additional $2, so $7 for selling weapons. But it really depends where you want to control.
Okay. So, did I remove 5? I was on 60, yep. We will be...
You do not control a blue leader, you cannot do that.
Alright, never mind.
Oof. Gotta be the brown one then.
Yeah.
Alright, so if I take that and put that in there, I gain 2.
You will gain an extra $2 on top of the 5 that you gain for selling weapons.
Okay.
So you gain 7.
Yep. Oh wait, I sold... I'm an idiot. Hang on. I sold
I think-
5.
I think you should be on 67.
Yeah.
I don't know why you removed 5.
I can explain it. It's because in my brain, everything requires paying money.
Yeah.
So I was on 60.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gain
You'll be on
5.
67.
Gain
Maybe
5 for
that's
selling
something
weapons, gain 2 for... Beck did point it out earlier, anytime you're gaining money is where it says sell, anytime you're paying is it doesn't say sell.
Maybe that could be, like, for example, if you had a positive or a minus symbol before the number, it could highlight that, like, this is when you gain from selling, this is when you lose money by spending.
It should be, yeah, positive and minus symbol. On
Yeah,
the
or
board.
like green and red for the numbers.
Also a good move. Also a very good move.
Anyway,
where
I
you-
rolled a 2.
Rolled a 2, so that moves into that oil area.
Mhm.
Nicely done.
And that's my turn.
That is your turn. What is next? We have buying oil. Anyone buying oil rights? Probably not, because everyone who has them already. Selling oil.
Oh, so it's... Yeah, alright, I'm selling oil. It's just me.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Alright. So, I will sell my oil here through this port here, which will get me $33, and then I have to give 10 to Kai.
Kai, steal some oil
Thank
from
you.
Reese.
I shall repurpose that oil from you.
I go on to 41, and then down to 31.
Nicely done, Reese. Proud of you and your cooperation.
Look, it's not shared, but I'm just gonna.
That was through my port, not yours, Tom.
Yeah.
That was through your port, yes. Because
Yeah.
this oil rig does not connect to my rig.
Yeah.
My
Sorry, I thought
port.
you said that you were. I don't know. You were thanking him. I thought you were like thanking him for donating oil.
Oh, and I think that's everyone's turn at the
Yep,
table.
no one has done anything else, so we'll make sure everyone takes their cards back. I thought this game was going to move a lot quicker. I think we've been a little bit unfortunate with how many of the consultants have come out instead of the event cards, but they will be there eventually. Oil sales representative. Use the next higher price on the chart anytime you sell oil.
That's cool.
Could be very powerful. Got to decide what we do. I will be doing this. I think this game will be a lot of fun on the actual table. Digitally,
Yeah. I think all games lose something digitally,
yeah.
personally. But
That's a really hard thing to change, though, especially because nowadays in the publishing world, you need to have a good digital version of your game if you want to publish it or look at it at all. If you don't have some decent art and even some good coding for pieces locking in place and good setup, you can miss out even if your game's solid. It's also the clicky clack that it misses, though Tabletopia does do a pretty good job of having that work.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we move in again. Action number 1, networking. Who would like to network? Wow, that's crazy.
Bang.
And back.
Well, that's crazy. All right, now, first up will be Rebecca. Rebecca, would you like to try and blackmail before you take your networking action?
Yes.
All right. Is that from your hand?
Yes.
Oh, that's a real shame.
HD rumble.
That's a damn shame, Rebecca. Rebecca had the military leader for Brown. As you can see on this token, there are 3 cards for it. Because I had the other card for it, I blocked that move.
Yeah, you want to know what I forgot? I could have used it at the beginning of my other turn, but then you would have just blocked it. Anyway.
I would have had the same thing again. Yeah.
Damn. Interesting. So you can actually block that blackmail action.
Yeah.
I can. What I will be doing, though, is with this turn, I will be bribing a blue leader. So I will be paying 3 and taking this gentleman.
Interesting pickup.
Nice. Let's
Blue is the
control
faction
blue
furthest
troops.
from the coast, so that's not going to be like hotly contested. So picking it up early, I feel like might be a really cool idea. And then
More importantly, let's control blue troops and have some say over how much money blue is going to need to pay and be paid.
yeah, true, very true.
But
Alrighty.
Reese, what would you like to do?
I will take a blackmail card.
Yep.
Did I get to take a blackmail card? Oh no, I took one. Never mind.
And then I'm going to bribe the government religious leader that Chris currently has.
Nasty.
So
Right,
that's
okay.
going to cost me 8 in total. 4 goes to the bank and 4 goes to Chris.
It's interesting that religious leaders can't be blackmailed because they never do anything wrong, but they can be bribed, and bribing isn't wrong.
Hey,
Bribing's not wrong in this game.
But we'll pay a slightly higher tithe. Bring the collection plate this way. We'll cut a check.
Bribing is just business with a few arm wrestling.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Who is then selling weapons?
Who won?
No one. All right. Buying oil
Because I.
I sure am.
is also I. And unfortunately
Wow.
for you, Chris, I am at the top of the chart this time, and I have the political leader, so it costs me nothing to drop that bad boy in there.
That's so rude.
That is me. I control. You do not. Next will be Chris. Chris, you're welcome to really not do anything because there's no way you can take that back from me this
Because
round.
my political leader was stolen, I was going to go on the brown faction.
You could. Rough. Okay, yeah. You could, if you had the card, blackmail my political leader away from me, and then because I no longer control a blue leader, you could take that rig away from me. But it depends if you have that card.
This top left area with the rig is uncontested and controlled by red faction. Correct?
That is true. If you
Just in
control a
case anyone
red
thinks
card,
I'm cheating, I forgot to get my 2 money for
Try
political
to
leaders at the start of this game.
blackmail the political leader corresponding to the red faction.
oh, Reese, what do you have to say about this?
Nice.
Fuck.
Haha.
That is
Hey,
a good
alright.
play. I did not see that coming.
That actually saved me because now I do have the rights to drill here, don't
Yep.
I? So
And it will cost you nothing.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. The blackmail cards are really sort of powerful. Cool. That's my turn.
All right. Kai.
Quick.
Oh, Kai. Oh,
Hope you guys enjoy
buddy.
your oil. I haven't been able to even get a sniff.
Who would have thunk
Of oil.
that a game about capitalism would be so cutthroat?
Poor Omnicorp, man.
I can no longer perform my action. This is becoming a bit of a theme.
Oh, dude.
So it looks like I am resorting to contingency plan Zulu at this point.
Not a
Don't mind me,
bad
chat, just
contingency
rearranging myself in my chair. Trying to get comfortable.
Hey, Reese, if you're not uncomfortable, it sounds like you might be a little bit cold and you might need to pick up one of those Nerds of the West hoodies that I hear are so comfy and so comfortable.
I mean,
No, let me
it wasn't
just
that. It
rearrange
was
here.
more getting in a comfortable position with my
Reese,
foot.
shut up.
Reese, let me plug the merch.
Reese, plug the
Reese,
product.
you're the expert.
Yeah, get the. I should be wearing a Nerds of the West hoodie. Not
Speaking
what I'm
of that,
wearing
sorry,
now.
I did get this bad boy. Friends over at the Nerd Shelves who stream and make content on YouTube. We did a little bit of a merch trade. I sent them one of our shirts. They sent me one of theirs. It says all meeples welcome. So welcome to you,
Nice.
chat. Thanks for being here.
Except Purple Omnicorp.
Except Purple Omnicorp, they can suck it.
It's a cool looking shirt.
I dig it. They have so many more color options than us, but I still went with black because that's what I do.
It's deep down inside. You're an emo kid.
Heck yeah, I am. Heck yeah.
Not even that deep down.
No,
No,
not even.
it's
If
really
I still
not.
had hair, it would be black and long.
That's true. It was that for a while.
It was.
Alright. So do we just skip straight to
Yeah, no
five
one else
now?
has any actions.
Since Kai got cheated out of his action yet again.
Kai's gonna have so
No.
many consultants
Actually,
though.
I just have a quick question. How did
Yeah.
Kai get cheated out of his turn?
Because
I
Kai
thought
did the buy oil rights action, but Chris used a blackmail before his turn to steal control of a red person to then buy oil rights for the red area, and Kai could no longer do that because red controls no area on the board apart from that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He couldn't get a sniff of my oil, apparently.
No. My guys rocked up, ready to go in, and saw Common Multinational already.
Kind of fortunately for you though, you do get another consultant card.
I do.
If and
Which
when
is
you get
great
to sell
because
oil.
it helps me sell oil, which is definitely something that I'm good at. So that's going to come in handy.
That is the end of the round. Congratulations, everyone. We've done it. I have to assume, with how many consultants we've had come out, this next one will be an event. Oh, which it is. Religious fanaticism. When you take the consulting action for this round, you will take one religious leader of your choice. Also, right now, at the start of the round, we increase corruption by 1, moving towards the end of the game, and we place 1 troop of each faction on their starting region and move it. We will start with Brown and move our way down the board. Rebecca, would you like to roll the dice for Brown, seeing as you currently control their political leader? And that makes perfect sense.
1.
So it will move into this area over here. Who controls the political leader for Blue? It's me! I control the political leader for Blue. That is a 2, which moves it down into this area, making Blue control another oil rig.
Oh my god.
And Chris, you control the political leader for Red. Roll that dice, man.
Okay. Roll 2, and that will move into this region, and it will annihilate with the brown troop.
Unfortunate, but not unexpected.
Okay.
There wasn't really anywhere else for it to go.
If it had rolled a 4 or a 5, you've got to treat it like a 6.
You
don't
have to treat it like a 6 and move it somewhere that it has to go. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
All right.
I
I'm going
learned,
to...
I learned if you use the shadow of the cubes, it helps you line it up.
Smart.
So I was doing that, and then Tom waited for me to finish, and then moved
No,
it.
I had already got it picked up, so I didn't realize you had dropped it by the time I also dropped it.
Nice.
All right, I'm going to pick my action and quickly run to the bathroom. Please vamp for me, because I don't want you stealing my leaders without me knowing. Don't be
Quick, turn his money to minus $69.
Actually, I'll just ask for a quick rules clarification while I'm here. You guys might. It's if I use the contingency action this turn, it will give me the religious fanaticism.
Yes.
Yeah, which means you will take a religious leader, your choice.
But that means you're foregoing the first 4 actions, right?
Yeah, and I'm not really getting anything from it, am I? Except a religious leader.
Interesting.
Anyway, I propose we all team up against Tom since he can't hear us.
Like, as long as you guys are ganging up on anyone but me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Poor.
Look, Kai, I don't think I've done anything to you, so
That's true. That's very true.
you're welcome.
I'm going to use this opportunity to go to the bathroom as well. Sit tight.
Are we doing chat? Are we doing good? I hope we're doing well. I just realised I need to fix up my chair, but
Wow, look at that chair.
Who
It's
broke what?
amazing.
Did I miss the vote? The vote has not happened yet, and it's not something that we've talked about yet. Every single month here at Nerds of the West, we do a viewer-voted game. You can use 15,000 channel points to request a game for everyone else to then vote on 2 hours into every single board game stream. This month, we currently have June and Broom Service up for vote, with Broom Service ahead, I believe, by 14 or 15 votes at the moment, but that can swing very quickly because you can use your channel points for extra votes. How you doing, Moron?
Also, I think it's 6 o'clock your time that the vote always happens.
Yes. If the time
same
zones.
time every Saturday night.
Every Saturday.
Only one that will change is special TLN Sunday streams, which
God.
we don't know if we'll be doing in July, but we'll keep you posted.
Y'all go.
Hopefully we can get back in and play some Time Chase. Whoa.
One day.
So who's keen for more Werewolf coming out in a couple of hours' time? Let me double check that I've actually got that set to go at the right time before I announce that.
Hey,
Hello,
Ken.
Ken. How you doing? Let me double check my.
How's it going, Kyo Ken?
How is the weather in beautiful Holland at the moment?
I do
Always
love-
wanted to go. Got a
Dude,
friend that I
dude,
went to school with
don't-
lives there.
Yeah.
I want to go to Holland so badly. Like, oh man, you have no idea.
I've been to Holland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd love to go back.
I want to go for festival season. I would have loved, like, if COVID hadn't happened, my mum and I would legitimately tempted to go over to the Netherlands for Eurovision last year, and then I would have just been like, all right, let me save up as much money as I can, do Eurovision, stay a month, do DEF CON. It would have been the best month ever. But unfortunately, COVID hit. I'd love to go over for Climax. I'd love to go over for just anything, but yeah. DEF CON and Climax. Unfortunately, they're months apart, so it'd have to be 2 separate trips. At this point, I think it's a toss-up for Beck and I's honeymoon, whether or not we end up in Canada or the Netherlands.
I mean, you got to get engaged and married first before you.
Yeah, there's a process.
Yeah, these discussions all have to happen.
Yeah.
You guys are thinking so archaically. Why
dude.
not have your honeymoon and then get married after?
Yeah, exactly. Festivals in admittedly, festivals in Australia, pretty solid. Like, we had some bangers in the
What
past.
ones, Tom? What
Like,
festivals?
What festivals? Actually, we are the only place in the world who had festivals in the last year. So still.
So is that what
I'm counting?
qualifies for that? Pretty
I'm counting
good.
New Zealand as Australia in that regard. But anyway, is everyone ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my card ready to go.
See how I get screwed over in new and creative ways.
Hey Beck, I think you're muted.
In the words of Fred Durst,
Me
I'm
and Millie are
ready
ready to go.
Good job, Millie.
Right.
All right then. Tiebreaker, Kai, you will win all tiebreakers. Kyo Ken, get over here. DEF CON Australia, no longer a thing, but we still got some good stuff happening. Round number
There's no
1,
chance on the call.
networking. Who is doing some networking?
I am.
Whoo, buddy.
Okay.
All right, before your turn, would you like to blackmail or use your religious leader to take control of someone?
I would actually. I'm
would've
going to
fucked
use
it?
my religious leader to take Beck's political leader.
Fancy.
Yoink.
Thank you.
Nice try.
And then I will take a blackmail card.
Yep. And would you like to bribe as well?
Ooh. I will. Just trying to think.
You could bribe the religious leader that you just used back straight away.
Oh, I could.
I hate
I
you.
could.
And it will only cost you $4 dues.
I hate you so much.
No, actually, I'm gonna leave him there. Just
You
because
are
of the event,
Satan.
there's the chance that I could just be throwing my money away.
True.
Yeah.
Are you bribing at all?
I am going to choose to bribe. Give me a sec. Hold on. Let me have a think.
Yeah, it
I'm gonna
depends.
bribe Chris's political leader.
Nice. Nicely
You
done.
jerk.
It is the cheapest
Oh.
one. It will only
Yeah.
cost you $6 dues, but 3 of those
Yep.
will go to Chris.
Yeah, Chris, you get $3.
Up to 32.
There we go. I'm just making friends with everyone.
Just
alright?
friends, just passing that money around.
Also, I think I may have lost this for myself, but
We'll see how it plays out.
Okay.
There is
Yeah.
still a lot of game left to happen.
Yeah.
No one else is doing that action, so we move on to selling weapons. Is anyone wanting more troops for a faction on the board? I'll take that as a no. I will move on to buying drilling rights.
Bam.
Becca's the only driller this round.
Fair?
All right.
Well, Rebecca, where would you like to buy drilling rights for?
Well, I only have a political leader for blue. Does that mean I can only buy drilling for blue?
Yep, you only
Yeah.
have influence over the blue team. You can only buy for blue. Fortunately for you, another blue one has come out. It will cost you $8 dues to buy the drilling rights for this mountain-ish to the east area.
Which I plan to do.
All right. We move on to selling oil.
Tis I. I'm selling oil.
I'm also selling oil.
Who goes
You will
first?
get to sell first, Chris, and once again, you can choose to blackmail or anything before your turn starts.
I cannot blackmail. My religious leader could only capture a blue token, so there's sort of no point. So I will sell oil from this area up here.
And where
Down
would you
the
like to sell?
pipeline. I've got to see what's more profitable. So we got a brown-controlled port, which would yield 30, and I would have to pay 10 of that to you.
Yeah, you would. You'd still get $20 though.
Yeah, that's more profitable for me, so I'll do that.
Appreciate it.
So
Appreciate it.
I'll gain 20, you gain 10.
Thank you very much. How much are you up to now, Chris? $52 dues. That's crazy.
That's 10.
And then I have no choice of where to sell, so my oil barrel has to come all the way down eastern side of the country and
Real?
sell at my own port. So I will get the full $30 dues, and as I planned perfectly, move myself up to the perfect number. Can I get a nice
Nice.
chat?
Nice.
We get nices on chat. Is that? Are you done
It's
now,
bad
Tom?
reason.
Like you could get up. And
Oh,
you
I
would
can
have
quit.
won.
I've won this game
Yeah.
already.
Nice.
Yep.
And last and definitely not least, Kai, what would you like to do this round?
I am typing in chat instead of in the window. That's helpful. I'm taking this contingency
Yeah, interesting.
voluntarily this time,
Wow, all right. What's that going to let you do?
which is going to let me take a religious leader. And Reese was on the money by not buying this back because I'm taking the brown
Yeah.
Yeah.
religious leader here.
Brown seems to be the most hotly contested at the moment. There's a lot of opportunity for plays there. Nicely done, everyone. Let us continue on to the next round. We have another event. Corruption will increase by 1. There is no other ongoing effect. But if you take the contingency action this round, you'll get $8 for free and speed up the end of the game.
Interesting.
So we are up
it
to-
moves up to 65. 95.
95. We're up to 95% corruption. I need my oil barrel back. And I'm in a pretty good spot. As much as Beck
Hello.
could possibly snipe away some oil from me, I'm pretty locked into my ability to buy oil rights. I'm putting that out as free information for everyone there, because, well, it makes the most sense for me. I'm in a decent spot. I can go ahead with it. Let's see what happens. There's a lot of push and pull with like getting blackmail cards to stop someone from doing what they want. It's not just a straight you stopped. It's got to be like a turn in advance. Excuse me, to figure everything out, which I enjoy. There's a good circle of play here. It's interesting that there's a bunch of us ahead on money, but then you other guys have these cards already done. For what it's worth, Kai, the event card does just disappear. You don't get control over it because, you know, it never happens again. But for the sake of having it here for us to show off later, it's nice to know, hey, you got to do that, and that's
Just
where...
make a discard pile for it up here, guy.
That's what happens.
Squad.
Has everyone selected their action for this round?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's start with action number 1, networking. Who would like to network?
Chris would like to network.
Easy. And before you network, would you like to blackmail or apply religious pressure? Because everyone knows religion is at the heart of capitalism.
I would love to, but I think I'll save my religious leader for now. Take my card, my blackmail card, and then I shall bribe a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
It's a hard choice.
Mm.
Especially as more and more troops get on the board, bribing becomes more and more expensive.
Yeah. I'll try to bribe this bloke from Kai. Brown
Not even try. You just pay and it happens. You just have to pay Kai $4 and the bank $4.
$4. So Kai, take $4 dues. I'll spend 8.
I was supposed to take 4. Actually, I was supposed to take 6 for
So
my.
give yourself 10, just to keep track of it all.
Got it.
It's worked out okay for you.
Concludes my turn.
All right. Is anybody selling weapons to increase their power, or perhaps increase the money it takes for someone else to take power from you? I'll take that as a hearty no.
No, that is not happening.
Is anyone buying oil rights?
I am.
I am also.
I also am buying oil rights. Now, I will be going first, and this is where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could buy for blue or for brown. And there is only one place where brown can buy. So I could be a real jerk to Reese and stop him from being able to buy rights. But then Reese has the red one, and Reese could snatch this oil away from Chris, because Chris no longer controls red. And it really comes down to a question of, are we all going to play nice? Do we all have the opportunity to play nice, or should I play mean while I have the chance?
I mean, it really comes down to how you play, Tom, and how you would like to continue. Hold on, let me get into a frame. It would really come down to how you would like to play this, Tom, and whether you would like to play nice or not play nice. I, for one, would be fine playing nice, because...
I am also
I'm
fine
just
playing nice, because at the end of the day, all it means is Kai has to not play nice if he wants some oil. So I'm going to play nice and not paint a target on my back, but still give myself some opportunities by placing my oil barrel up the top here and potentially give myself 2 ports to sell at later on if things don't go my way. So I'm playing nice, but I'm playing smart. We move on to Reese. Reese, are you going
Pleasure doing business with
pleasure doing business with you, sir. Are you going to continue to play nice?
I am also going to play nice because I have the political leader. I can put it down for free on the brown one.
And I hope you remember this in the future, Reese.
Oh, Tom, I will remember our business transaction.
No money has changed hands, but maybe we will in the future.
Nah, that's not gonna happen. You're in the lead. That's not gonna happen.
Kai, what would you like to do?
Well, I'm going to play mean because you can only push a guy so far. I'm going
about to
to
break.
play my religious leader to murder, kill Reese's political leader and
Wow. Okay.
coup him and install a loyal leader there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I am for free going to steal this oil from Chris and plonk my own oil in there.
You do have to pay, unfortunately, because you are buying out the place that is there. It does not matter that you have the political leader, I believe.
Is that true? Because I was reading the rules and it just said to buy the rights as described above, which was,
however, you may not combine the political leader special power with buying out the rights from another player.
It's a massive hustle and cost to forge all these documents, bribe police et al. And even your best friend can't do that for free.
So what you're saying is that
You probably shouldn't have used your
having
religious
the
leader just yet.
political leader is useless.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know what, Reese? You can have that back.
It is going to cost you $10 to the bank no matter what you do, but you have stolen that oil right away from Chris.
Oh, the bank gets it, not
it
even me.
wouldn't cost them $10. It would
Example
only cost
about
them
I'm
$6.
trying to see where it says it costs $10.
If another player already owns the drilling rights for the region, but they do not currently control any leader, you may buy out these drilling rights. To do so, buy the rights for that region as described above, removing the player's pawn. Not $10, apology. The example is $10. You just use the buyout price as listed.
Okay.
So it does only cost you $6. My apologies for getting those rules a little bit tied up.
Alright, gotta spend money to make money.
It's true. That is the point of this game. Spend money at the right time to bribe people at the right time to make money as often as possible.
So in that case, did you want to steal Reese's political token and do it for free?
It doesn't get done for free.
Oh, you're not allowed to.
It still doesn't
there
get
is
done for free.
yeah.
No.
There is an extra caveat that those two do not combine.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that moves us on to Rebecca. Rebecca, what are you doing today?
Give me a second. Okay, so I'm selling my oil.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
And what oil are you selling and where?
Now, I only have the ability to send it down this channel to this port that is currently controlled by you.
Oh.
And because there are so many troops out, I'm coming through on your mic, and I am actually trying to talk quietly, so it's messing me up.
Oh, it's hard, I know.
I'm only hearing one of you, but
That must be nice. However, so I will 20 for this.
Oh, are we in the ASMR portion of the stream already?
We're in ASMR.
Yes,
Binaural peak
$20 and I will get $10. Thank you, Rebecca. Pleasure doing business with you.
Yes. And then this comes back. Because I didn't want to hold on to it and then lose it. So
No, totally fair. That takes us to the end of the round. Everyone get your cards back. And we'll flip over a new card. No one is using developmental aid. Oh, wrong one. This one. In this round, if you take the contingency action, you can pay $4 to decrease corruption by 1. However, this round, corruption is increasing by 1, and we cannot sell weapons at all, which is a shame because that is exactly what I was going to do.
Wow.
Up to
This round you
97.
can't.
Potentially
weapon.
only 3 more rounds to go, but we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna remember to give myself my money this round.
You do get a decent amount of money there.
That's not a bad haul.
All right. My plan was to send some ASMR redeemable and make the streamer do ASMR for 1 minute. Look, if I didn't loathe ASMR, I'm happy if it works for you, but for me, I'm like, you just sound like grating.
Why do you loathe it?
Oh, dude, I can't stand the like whispering and tapping and like I'm not one of those people who hate string sounds, but just like that just overdone sound effects and going for specific frequencies is just annoying to me.
I'm just dead center of the road. It does nothing for me, but I also don't care.
Yeah.
Is anyone?
I'm happy to let
affected
people
by
do what they want, but for me, no way.
But what if you're the one doing it? Then it'd be fine.
If I'm the one doing it, I'll stop doing it right away. That's what will be. All right. Has everyone picked? Is everyone ready to go?
I think so.
This could be a very interesting round with the way the tokens are all placed out. For anyone watching at home, this is Peak Oil Profiteer. It is currently on Kickstarter. This is the 3rd game in the Peak Oil series. They've got a couple. Whoop, if I
Helps if you spell it right, Tom.
Yeah, just don't add extra characters in. This is a game all about making as much money as you can, as corruptly as you can, by influencing politicians to gain control over different areas of said governments or kind of fanatical fighting factions. So, starting with action number 1, networking. Who has done some networking?
Me.
Nice. Anyone else? No. Rebecca, even though she is last in the contingency list. Now, Rebecca, would you like to bribe or blackmail? Oh, sorry, blackmail before you start your action, or are you just going straight to bribing?
I'm gonna go ahead and take the blackmail card.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. And I'm gonna go ahead.
I guess it's more of a question of who are you bribing. You don't have to, but most often if you're taking the networking action, you're gonna be the jerk and bribe away from some people.
I think I'm gonna pay Chris. Hang on. Just have a look at this. So I have blue. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get a religious leader. Have a pocket. Oops. Sorry, didn't mean to pick that up. Wouldn't be bad to have a religious leader just in my pocket, ready to go. Bribe a religious leader, it will only cost me 3, which is too bad.
If you bribe the red one.
If I bribe the red one.
I
Otherwise,
don't have
would
the
it
red
be...
one.
I mean, Chris has 2 of them, I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and...
That's a lot of religious power for a man to have. Imagine being the head of 2 religions, like...
Yeah. Yeah, are they 2 different religions, or are they the same?
100% they are.
No, yeah.
Like, I am the Pope.
Why do you think there's so much fighting in
man
this?
or something?
Yeah.
Like,
So that will cost you 8, Rebecca, 4 to Chris, which I believe you've already paid in.
Yeah. Actually,
Yep.
yeah, 4 to me, yeah.
Well done. Nicely played. We move on to action 2, which we cannot take this round, so we will be skipping it. Action 3, buy drilling rights.
Aha! Me. No one else?
No, the rest of us have oil to sell.
So you're all actually... Okay, yeah, got it.
Now, Chris, would you like to do any blackmailing before your turn starts?
I would. I would like to snag that military leader from Kai.
go ahead and take it.
Ooh, fancy.
Oh, you've locked it.
What's that? You can't. That's because I have more blackmail on him than you
Oh,
do.
really? He psyched me out
The
as
counter
well.
plays. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely nailed that.
Oh, you really rubbed it in there. I was going to like take it and drag it, but it wouldn't move.
That was perfect.
I no longer feel bad for Omnicorp.
All right. Well, Chris, where would you like to buy oil rights? You only have a blue leader.
Well, yeah. There's only really one place I can, and hang on a minute.
There are 2
Only
places you can.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was just wondering if I should use this religious leader to steal the political leader of Tom.
I believe you can only blackmail once per turn, but let me double check that for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you can only
Because that way I
blackmail
could,
once.
do it for free because I had the political leader.
Yes. You may only try to either blackmail once or use a single religious leader at the start of each of your turns. Because you've already blackmailed Kai and
Yeah,
failed, you cannot use your religious leader this turn.
That's right. Well, I can still take the action.
Yep.
I'll put over there. I don't think it matters. Maybe it's just safer back.
It is a lot safer back there. You got less. People have to fight through a lot more to get into that home base.
So
But
I'll
it
be
does
paying
cost you
8
8.
to the bank. So down to 40 I am. There we go.
Nicely done. All right. I believe that is that. And we move on to selling.
I would love to sell finally some oil.
I'm proud of you, Kai. Now, Kai, would you like to do any blackmailing or religious pressure before you start your turn?
Now screw that. I have a port down here.
Fair.
I'm just gonna go ahead and take my oil to my port and sell it for one above the market price,
Yay, cool.
which is $35.
Nicely
All for
done.
yourself too. God, that's
Ugh.
good. 71 that puts you on.
That is amazing, Kai. Very quickly back into this game. Now, Reese, you do get to go before me.
Yes.
And what would you like to do?
Alright, so I'm going to sell this oil. But Tom, you may be wondering, where am I going to sell the oil?
Where are you going to sell the oil, Reese?
The thing is, alright, because I have, let me just bring this into view, I have the transport expert. I can sell oil disregarding pipelines.
That's
Now,
cool.
Kai, now you and Kai own the ports that I can sell it at.
Yes.
The problem is, Tom, you're in the lead.
But, Reese, we
And
were
you are
such good
about to-
friends. And we thought
You're
we
about to sell your oil,
And
so
we
I'm going
would,
to sell
we
it
would help.
in...
We would help each other, and I
I
wasn't mean to you. We were playing so nice, Reese. Who could have foreseen that you would do this?
I don't recall ever agreeing to this.
No money ever changed hands.
I think
So
you're falling on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Look, on top of that,
Oh, no,
my
100%
port
knew
is
this
more
was gonna
profitable currently.
Yeah.
100% knew this was going to happen. There was no chance he was selling money at my port.
I was on
No.
17, so I go up to 47, and then I have to give Kai 10.
47.
Which means I'll then go down to 37. Yeah. Because I get 30.
Well done.
30 plus 17, 47.
You're selling at a red port.
Yeah, you get
Oh.
33.
33.
Oh, it's okay. 33.
It's
So
the
I'm
color
on
of the
40.
port you sell at, not the color that you own.
Okay, I'm on 40 then.
Yeah.
Kai still gets 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would be up to 50 then, and then down to 40.
Yes, 100%.
Yep. Cool. There we go.
Look, I knew that was going to happen. I hoped we could be friends, but we won't be. So I'm going to sell my oil at my port and make myself a beautiful $30 dues up to 100.
And that's the thing, man. You were going to make bank anyway. You didn't need me to give you $10.
Oh, look at that. Look, I don't feel bad at all. I just think you're a jerk and a backstabber and a lying piece of shit. So we'll just let that be what it is.
This is like that time we played Civilization and Tom legitimately got upset that I betrayed him when I told him multiple times, don't come into my area.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, well, no, that was my plan all along.
Yeah. You took my area.
And made me feel bad. And made me feel
You took
bad.
my area. I took it back. We should play Civ again. Civ's really fun.
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is that round. The corruption track has moved up. So we have potentially 3 more rounds left. Let's see what happens. Ooh. When buying drilling rights, you may move 1 troop first. Some very... Oh, hey, Tim. Bye, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Lots of opportunity for backstabbing and betrayal there. So... Movement is all freed up. What would people like to do this round?
Oh my god.
This game's tough, man. Trying to decide when you need to earn money, when you need to bribe politicians is a very tough balancing act.
Tosh and my mellow.
They call me Mellow Yellow. All right.
Okay, here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Action number 1, networking. Who is networking this round?
I am.
Ooh.
Nicely done, nicely done. Mr. Reese. Mr. Head of General Business Company.
Yep.
What would you like to do?
Doing the big business. I'm going to take a blackmail card. And then I'm going to... Let me have a look at what I can do. I'm going to bribe Tom's military leader.
What? Who would have guessed? You need that money. That's crazy.
So I'm going to go down to 32. Tom gets 4. The bank gets 4.
I'll take the $4 readers.
Yeah.
That sounds very nice. Hey, Roboto. How you doing, bud? It's going well. None of us are being friendly, but we're all making mad money.
Friends when you have money.
Yeah. It's a very topical game. I'm enjoying
Buy
it.
some friends.
All right.
Money can't buy you friends.
Action number 2.
Yee.
Anyone getting in on that game?
I am.
Yeah, I am. And because of the priority list, Chris with Common Multinational will get to go before my generic ink. Chris, where are you sending troops?
Well, I have a leader only for the blue faction, so I will be deploying this blue cube in this area.
I just noticed you've got an oil barrel still sitting on the board here as well, Tom.
Thank you very much.
I will
And
roll
then-
this die. 4. Now that is a 6, I believe.
Yes, because you
rather
cannot
than
send
a 4.
troops to where you've already got troops. You can now choose where you want to send said troops. You
Now,
could send
hang on,
it.
let me have a quick look to see whom of my competitor companies wants to start using this, or should I perhaps take control of the contested war zone?
Oh,
You know
what a
what?
bloody
Screw
legend.
it.
Here's some finger guns.
Let's move in and annihilate.
Joshua the Pirate, thank you so much for 12 months. Stream
Hey,
birthday
Josh.
for you.
Hey,
That's almost a year.
Reese is very good at
Awesome.
maths.
Thanks for that,
Um,
Java.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's my turn finished.
I am doing the exact same thing. I'm gonna go for some blue boys and drop them right
Chris,
in here.
did you get the money for doing that?
No, Chris, you'll get $5 and I will get $4 for selling weapons.
Was it 5?
Yeah, because no, it would have been 4. Apologies, because you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
killed
yeah.
them and sent them back. You also get $4.
Woohoo!
Why am I rolling that? I need to roll that. That is a 6, and I can choose to send them wherever I want. And let's do it. Let's take control of some more oil fields for blue. That just seems like a
Yay.
good idea.
Blue faction.
Blue is where it's at for controlling the oil. Even though brown controls where you're selling it, blue controls all of the oil.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How like they begin positioned as they do.
Yeah. So blue gets control of a lot of oil, but then sells it at brown's port and makes more money because they've killed all of brown's troops. Who would have thunked it? Josh and Reese, best friends forever.
BFFs.
That is action 2. Is anybody buying drilling rights this round?
Yo, yo.
around.
Oh, look at you two go. All right. Beck will get to go first. Rebecca, where would you like to buy drilling rights this
Enjoy,
round?
Reese.
Unfortunately, Brown no longer controls any drilling rights, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's fine. I was going to put it on a blue. I'm just trying to decide if there's any that's more advantageous than the others. But I don't believe so. So we're going to stick it right here.
The only deciding factor would be if you don't want to sell to Brown and you'd rather just take the 15 for the blank port.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
did not give Reese any money, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, that I believe... Oh, I need to pay for that. Hang on. So for drilling rights on that one, I need to pay 10.
That's the flip side of it. The more oil rigs that Blue controls, the more expensive it is to drill there. They got all that power. It's a nice balance. I think this game is fairly balanced, even if there is a lot of RNG with the cards that are coming out. I believe that just leaves Kai, who controls red, and red only controls one oil rig.
Yes, indeed. So I will be surprising no one, buying oil rights up here, which is going to cost me
what a bloody legend!
6
Here's some bigger
bucks.
guns. Pew, 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 pew.
Speaking of this game,
Sophie rocked up.
Hello.
thank you very much, Jordan.
Hey,
Two
tomatoes!
How's it going?
They are the creators of this game, as noted by the lovely cubed tomatoes down in the bottom corner. And we'll hopefully be having a nice little chat with Geordie after the game. So, that's everyone done. Does anyone? No, I believe that. Yep. Words. I'm just double checking that everyone is done, but they are in fact.
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
We'll flip over another contingency card. It's the Inside Contact. Pick your action for the round last. Peek under the action card chosen by one other player first. Giving you a little bit of extra information, potentially useful for people such as Reese, who will be last in the turn order this time.
That's an interesting card.
I'm taking
and
my
a time roller.
$4 million dues for my negotiator.
We get some finger bangs out for the time roller.
Time roll.
I didn't catch the end of Tuscany yesterday, time roller. How did you end up scoring? I really want to play Tuscany, guys. Can someone buy me Tuscany?
A whole freaking part of Italy, Tom. Who do you think has the money for that?
I don't know, we're all oil barons, aren't we?
True, most of us are in fact oil barons. Let's continue onwards then. Pick your actions for this turn. Kai, I don't know if you meant to leave that one out.
I left my card out from last turn.
Nice.
That's not my action. This turn.
Beat Bone John by 10 points. Nice score to 79. Solid. Appreciate it. Tuscany seems just like such a really great Euro game. One of those ones that's a bit midweight, but enough meat going on in it that it's satisfying anyone who likes Euro games. Midweight Euro games are having a good year. There's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Someone ready?
Speaking of midweight Euro games,
Sorry, I'm just having a quick think here.
That's
right. God, how many of you are going to be jerks? All of you.
Everyone,
this isn't good.
Everyone will be At least you're kind of safe over on the red side of the board. No one is like fighting for control over that area. As opposed to like Blue could just power in and take control of this port away from Reese.
Yeah.
You don't have to steal the Admiral away from him to take control of the port. Just saying.
That's very true.
Everyone's ready? Alright. Round number 1. Who is networking? I almost expected Reese to be networking there, but he can't because he controls. Oh no, he controls 3. 3
Hey
still
Tom, could you do us a favor?
Hey man.
Could you stop guessing what I'm doing, man?
No, I really enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. Round number 2. Who is selling weapons?
I'm asking you really nicely to please stop.
Who's selling weapons? Okay.
No one.
What would you like to do, Reese? You
Well,
control
before
2 factions.
anything, I would like to steal your political leader.
Oh, that's not very nice. You know what? There's not a lot I can do about that. So you go right ahead and enjoy that.
Thank you.
Reese has every single political leader in his pocket.
Yeah.
This is.
I'm here to make friends. I will then. I'm gonna drop a troop from the government into here, giving me $7.
Yes, you do. Working out what your opponents will be doing before they do is an important gaming skill. I think Tom is fine here. Yeah, but for some reason these guys don't appreciate when I do that, so I'll be nice to Reese and just let him do what he wants. Because you rolled a 4 there, Reese, what happens?
Oh
Goes
no!
here,
and
they annihilate each other.
Does not lose control of that oil rig for Beck, but it means she can only sell for $15 dues.
Oh, that might hurt actually.
It will hurt, especially if Reese still controls.
If I sell from here down to here,
You get 5
Wouldn't
and
it-
Reese would get 10.
Wouldn't it sell from the brown port though?
It does sell from the brown port, but because the area is uncontrolled, it does not have the political power to sell for more money. You only sell for the 15. So you maybe want to
But in
use your
this port,
religious
there's-
leader. It's if
That
both
doesn't make sense
if
because
both
this is
areas
uncontested.
if both areas have a faction controlling them, then you get to sell for more money. If either of them is uncontrolled, you sell for 15.
Also, because
So it
where the oil
doesn't
is
matter. It doesn't matter then because I'm still selling it for 15.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're saying. But you are still selling at that port. Reese will still get $10.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and you'll only make 5, of course.
Yeah.
Alright.
So
That
we
sucks.
move on to, but she's got the religious leader. She can just snipe that admiral away from him.
Yeah,
Okay,
that is
yeah.
totally.
Yeah. We move on to action number 3, where we are buying oil rights. I'm buying oil rights. Is anyone else? Before my turn, I'm playing this card and taking this back from Reese.
Got it.
Cool. Reese is being very quiet. I'm not sure if he can hear me.
Yeah, no, I heard you. That's fine. That works.
I just
He's
wondered
just
if it would
guessing.
play out that way. I was mostly trying to bait that extra card out of you. Because it doesn't make a lot of difference. I could pay for my oil rights, but instead I am going to just build for free with my political leader. Down here, I cannot build up here because these guys already have control of them. The reasoning that is either is uncontrolled, you need to invest in private security to make sure that nobody steals the oil, pay bribes, so you get less money when selling. Makes sense. That is my turn. We move on to action number 4, selling oil, which I believe all of you guys have oil to sell. Are you all going to be selling oil?
I shall be
Yeah,
selling some
Captain.
oil.
So we start with Rebecca.
Yeah.
And
That's
before
so
your
rough,
turn,
Beck.
would you like to blackmail or use a religious leader?
So the question is, if I do blackmail, there's a chance that Reese can counter it. And he
Yes.
has 7 cards in his hand, which means he has blackmail cards in his hand.
Yes.
What that tells me is I should just use my religious leader.
100%.
And I'm unlocking it.
Yeah,
And
nothing
I
you
will
can do
be
about
just taking that gentleman.
The religious
Away from
leader
you.
doesn't go to Reese,
That's
it
cool.
goes back into the pool.
Sure.
That is perfectly fine.
And then I'll be selling my oil for a fat stack of 15 million.
that. Woo! What's better than 5?
A lot
Sure.
better than 5.
But it's also very nice because, Chris is selling oil and now has to come through the port that you control and you'll get an extra 10 mil.
Yeah, that was a great play there with the
It
religious
was a good
leader.
play.
But that should be my turn. Done.
Nicely done. Next is Kai. Kai selling oil through his own port.
Through my
Ooh.
glorious republic over here.
Nice
And
cut.
selling it for selling it for 1 higher, thanks to my sales rep.
Damn.
Jeez,
You almost want to be like
Back.
getting as little red cubes out there as you can, but I guess 2 is the littlest you can have because
Yeah. you need
you
one.
need
for the
one to
port,
control.
for
Need a
the-
Yeah.
port, and yeah.
that's amazing.
Unless I could get another faction into a port
Yeah.
that had no oil wells, I suppose. And just have 1 of each cube out.
Mm.
Or something.
That's still amazing. And Chris, last and definitely not least, before your turn, would you like to blackmail or do anything else?
I think I need to get rid of this political leader token. It's really not doing much for me. I can just snag someone else's gains with it. I think I'll be stealing your token, Tom.
Look, I don't blame you one bit. The Blue Admiral has not come into play in any way except for moving troops. So that is... Look, it's not fine, but it is a fantastic game move.
Yeah, I think.
Then
Okay,
what are you selling it
so-
for? How much?
I'm selling this glorious barrel of oil through the pipeline at the Brown Port at regular pricing. So $33 dues,
no.
and
Oh,
10
yeah.
of them will go to Beckstotska
Isn't it 30 because of blue?
No, you're selling it at a brown port. You sell at the brown.
It's the port.
price.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll get 23 up to 67, and you get 10 back.
Hey, thanks.
There we go.
Well
My
done.
turn.
I believe that is everyone done for the round.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I have to imagine we're getting another event now. I'm pressing the wrong button every time. Oh no! Another consultant, the PR expert. When bribing a controlled leader, only pay the bribe once to the bank as if bribing an uncontrolled leader. That is powerful, especially for how much blue has been controlled. That could come in very handy.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing this turn?
Whatever I want. What are you doing this turn?
Tom's great at guessing what people are, especially Reese.
I have
Yeah,
no
the
idea
guy
what
just
Reese
losing.
wants to do now.
I'm just gonna pop to the loo quickly.
How dare you? While Kai's doing that, and while everyone is taking a turn, I will remind you all that every month here, we do a viewer-voted game. Last month, we played Battlestar Galactica and had a great time. This month, we have 2 games up for vote, and you can use 15,000 channel points, so this is your last chance to do that for this month, because from next week onwards, we are going to... God damn it, Crowbar. Go on to August's viewer voted game of the month. So for this month, you can use your channel points and your 1 free vote to vote on us playing Broom Service or June. Now, the original June, not June Imperium. So there is a lot to go on. Very different games. One very much like pure Ameritrash going at each other, and one not quite heavy Euro, but definitely up there for Euro.
Giga Storm.
So last chance, otherwise we are putting these 2 in to vote. And I will say we are using the expansions for June if we end up playing it. The 2 extra factions that are available. Can anyone remember what those factions are? I'm not really up on my June
Faction
lore.
1 and Faction 2.
I think it's more like Faction 7 and Faction 8, but still pretty good.
Close enough.
So I do not understand how PR can mean rectal, but that's just
Rectal.
old mate Crowbar and his.
It's per rectal.
For
PR.
rectal.
That makes sense.
R for rectal.
How many poops can you do per rectal?
Yeah.
That is
Alright.
that is fair.
See, I'm great at maths. Tom's great with English. So
I'm so good at words.
Yeah.
Like so good. Administering medication, that makes perfect sense. So, how's everyone in chat finding this game? I'm digging how many options you have and how much you have to weigh up. It's not pure Euro in that you're always just moving things around the puzzle. It's a lot of figuring out what your opponents are doing and the right time to take control of different people to get as much money as you can. Because for me right now, I don't control anyone, but I don't think it's gonna hurt me as much this time.
As someone
I'm back, baby.
As the person who is currently losing by a fair margin, I'm quite enjoying this game. I notoriously suck at games like this. I feel like I'm getting like War of Whispers vibes, which I didn't do too bad at when we played it, and like Power Grid vibes.
Definitely Power Grid vibes.
Every game of Power Grid, I lose horribly, but I enjoy playing Power Grid thoroughly.
Thoroughly.
Like it's one of my top 10. So like I'm really digging this. There's a few critiques that I have, but we can
talk about that after.
Yeah, if 2 tomatoes would like to hear them, I'm happy to provide them. But
Well, we are going to have a chat with Geordie after the game, which means I will either have to sort out some extra camera space, or let one of you lovely folks disappear for a moment, and Geordie can jump in. We'll figure out what works best. So, viewer voted poll is up. Get your votes in, ladies and gentlemen. We will.
Hi, are you eating Cheetos with chopsticks?
It's the right way to eat Cheetos.
How else do you eat Cheetos?
Otherwise, the Cheeto dust
I was
gets everywhere.
waiting for someone to point that out.
Wow.
I didn't need to point it out.
Dust is the devil.
It's the
What
only
a-
way to eat Cheetos.
What a weeb.
I mean, that's
because you
accurate.
don't want the Cheeto fingers. So
No, that's fair.
And
Like
my
it makes
fingers
sense.
are clean.
yeah.
What a genius.
That's
What a
I can
guy.
touch my keyboard, touch my mouse. No
That's so
Cheeto dust.
multicultural.
What
Two
a man.
tomatoes. I'm gonna write down what my thoughts are, and we can discuss. If I end up still being around, we can discuss. And,
We can
I'll
discuss.
let you know what I've got my critiques with.
All right, ladies and gents. We're on to this next round. I have lost track of how many rounds we've played. For a quick score update, Beck, how much money are you on?
83.
I'm on 118. Reese.
I am on 39.
Kai.
I am also on 118.
Shouldn't you be on 122 because you get $2 per person you control?
Hey.
Oh, thanks,
Start the round.
You're
corporate partner.
And Griswold.
I'm on $67 dues.
Nicely
Millions, so
done.
Are we ready to reveal?
So, action number 1, networking. Who's jumping in and getting in there? Not a huge
Bell
surprise.
network.
Ooh, all right, a little bit of a surprise. What would you like to do?
Surprise.
Are you doing any snabby grabby before you get your networking on?
I shan't do no whatever
Isn't
you
that
just
what
said.
they have at the Krusty Krab?
Snabby grabby.
Yeah.
I should take a blackmail card.
Yep.
Ooh, an interesting blackmail card. And I shall then bribe the government's religious leader, I think, for 3.
It's
And
a
he can come.
fantastic move.
He can come and have a theological debate with my glorious Republic of United Rebels front of males and females over here.
All right.
They can discuss. Oh, we have got the developer in chat. What does FMF stand for? I did have a skim through the rulebook, but I couldn't see it. Or does it stand for over? You know, is it a joke?
And the noble URFMF guerrilla militia. That's what the rulebook says. Or that's skimming the first page of the rulebook. That's what it says.
Jesus.
I'm very curious.
Oh, that one got me. Why do you guys not have Streamlabs open to get got as well? We should have made that a thing. Thank you for the
Because I
25
have so
biddies,
many other
Curve.
things that needs to be open.
That got me well good.
I have 3 screens, and they're all currently occupied with things. That's
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next round then. Round number 2. No louder. That is as loud as it can be. Oop, that's not the button I want to press. Is anyone doing?
Yes.
Anyone else getting in there? Because you'll get to do it before her.
No.
No. All right, Rebecca, you are selling weapons. Who would you like to sell weapons to?
All right. So.
I like yours better, Chris.
I'm
Thanks.
just trying to think, because I can start my turn by blackmailing, and I do have some stuff. I'm gonna leave it. I won't be blackmailing this round. But what I will do is I will be placing troops for the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'll be selling weapons for the government. So we're gonna start by going up for 5.
good government.
Oh,
Okay.
these
Then
factions have been all game.
we're gonna be putting it here.
Get yourself another
Roll.
2.
Yeah, $2 for deploying.
And then into the 5 spot puts it down here.
Nicely done.
Nice.
Not
We
really
move-
what I was looking for, but that'll be fine.
There is that little bit of luck, which is nice, but can't always work out the way you want it. Is anybody buying drilling rights?
Yes. I am buying drilling rights. And I own the red political leader, so I can do that for free.
Nicely done.
Putting that there. I believe that's my turn.
is anybody selling oil this
I
round?
did that, Reese, because that justifies me not doing that this round. I saw that you were before me, and I was like, ooh.
No way.
I saw I was at the
chance.
top, and I'm like,
Tom.
I am selling oil this round.
Oh, you are selling. Okay.
So I will take my oil. Fortunately, I have to imagine, Beck, you were trying to invade this area where my oil was to make me have less money.
Revengeance.
Look, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually trying to stop Tom from running away with this.
No, fair. But
Absolutely.
because you put that person out, regardless of if you killed this person or not, I'm getting less money. I'm now getting 30 money instead of 33, and I have to pay 10 of that to you. So I go up to 148 and back down to 138, and you can have your $10 dues to enter the triple digit club.
Hooray!
Hey, Reese, double digit club is where it's at.
what up, double digit boys?
Double digits! Look at those scrubs way back there. All right, Chris, does that mean you are playing the contingency game this round?
I'm playing the contingency game. I'll be taking this PR expert, the what was it, parectal expert.
Per rectal expert.
Yep.
So now, for the rest of the game, whenever I'm bribing, I only pay the bribe once to the bank, not to any of the players.
Very cool.
Pretty cool.
Very strong.
Mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now flip over another contingency card. It is another... what's the word? Consultant. Pick one other player if this player may not steal oil from you. So when you are selling oil, you can protect yourself from Rebecca or Kai and their lovely control of ports. Strong card.
That's cool.
Very cool card. I love how those can very quickly change the game from, all right, I control that, to, well, now I just need to get more troops on the board, so you're getting less money anyway.
Yeah.
Lots of options for play and counterplay.
I love these contingency cards.
Well then, how are we doing on this poll? Has everyone got their votes in? Make it happen, boys. We will be once Millie is having her time over there. Good old Millie dog. I don't know what I want to do. I'm at a bit of a crossroads.
Millie, come here. See, the funny thing about my dog is that she loves barking at stuff, but she loves getting scratches more. So if you just are like, come get scratches, she'll be like, oh, I'm there. Just forget about what's out the window.
Scratches.
My
You
problem
are
is I'm at the
providing me with
bottom of the totem pole this round. This could get weird.
I'm very torn.
Yeah.
What's
Nice one. Nice one, Bear.
This is how I feel. Oh, man.
Flying naked on the floor.
Like, I'm quite high up on the thing here. I think I know what I'm gonna do. I hope I know what I'm gonna do, or else I'm in trouble.
Trouble.
Actually, hold on.
What was it?
I had a card out. I just quickly changed it.
Well, what if that changes my play, Reese? What if I thought I was in your head and now I'm not?
Don't worry. Everyone's in my head, apparently.
In your head. In your head.
Zombie.
Oh.
Guys, we're
Actually-
gonna get the
Like everyone's having that kind of round. We are like, where am I at? What do I want?
Yeah.
How can I make things happen?
Ah!
I know,
You know
dude.
what?
I know. I've
Just-
changed my mind like 3 times. I'm gonna lock this in.
Lock it in.
That's where
Just
we're
lock it in,
at.
Eddie.
I don't know
I
if
don't
it's the
know.
right decision, but it's definitely a decision.
Hands off keyboards.
That's it. Lock it
Why
in.
didn't
No more
everybody
back.
ever tell me running a oil conglomerate was hard?
Yeah.
Manipulating a country for their oil.
An entire continent
Yeah.
for
Crazy.
its natural resources.
All right. Round number 1. Who is networking? Me, because I remembered I have to have leaders if I want to take control of anything. and therefore
Fair.
buy oil rights. I will be drawing my blackmail card, which is the end of the blackmail deck.
Does that mean that we can't do any more blackmailing, or do we
No,
reshuffle
we will
ones?
reshuffle these ones up.
Do we do that when someone's drawing? Just
When
in case
someone's
more get
drawing,
added to the pile.
That's true. That is fair, but those ones are
Between
there
now
ready
and
to be drawn.
Just as a-
I shall be, because it seems like the smartest play, just paying the $4 to grab the blue religious leader. Blue seems like the right place to be right now. I support their cause. They seem like strong, smart, and capable people, and they could use my religious guidance. That is my turn.
Bluists.
Hard to
Okay.
argue with that.
So
Is
weapon-
anyone selling weapons this round? Yeah, it's an interesting place on the board. I don't know if anyone really wants that. Is anyone buying drilling rights?
Bam.
Bam.
Interesting.
Bazinga.
Jesus.
Well, Kai is at the top,
Omnicorp.
And
and you currently do not have anywhere that you can buy drilling rights.
I don't.
So
however,
what are you doing before?
Chris has a political leader that I would very much like to blackmail.
I don't think Chris can
I'm
stop
just-
that.
I'm just
That
waiting
makes
for Chris to
me-
Uno reverso me and have a political leader up his sleeve.
here's the thing.
But I'm pretty sure that two of them have come out before now.
You saw
Yeah.
Reese take it from me and me take it back from Reese.
Yep.
So there's only 3 of those cards.
I wish I could like import from a different game and take the Uno reverse card.
And so I'm going to then build. Oh, sorry, not build, rather buy drilling rights. So I could do it at any of these 3, really, couldn't I?
Anywhere
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they
I mean, they had the same port, ultimately.
and then-
Yeah.
Unless I wanted to be able to come to this port at some
Yeah.
point. I think that this is going to be the more stable area because it's further back. It's their starting area. It
Yeah.
seems slightly
Yeah,
less likely to get
You have to
attacked.
weigh up where you can sell things, but also if somebody sends troops into that area, you then only have the option to sell for 15 money.
Yeah.
Which
So
can
I
get
think this
rough.
is the more safe area. So that's where I'm gonna drill. Drill,
Nicely
baby,
played.
drill.
Next up is the person who no longer has drilling rights. Chris, can you somehow get them back from anyone?
There's no way.
You don't have any bribery cards?
Yes, contingency. No, I've got nothing. Yeah.
How does
That
it
is a shame.
feel?
Oh, Kai coming.
It hurts.
Kai has had all that happen to him and has learnt when to counterplay.
Yeah, poor Omnicorp. I'm starting to feel it now.
Rebecca, you still have drilling rights in a couple of places. What would you like to do?
I can only place drilling rights in blue spaces, so because the only way for brown to move into this area here is going to be through a 5 roll, I'm going to be placing an oil. If I can pick it up.
Fair.
Yeah.
I guess if Brown starts in their capital, they can roll a 2 or a 3 to come into this other area. It's a bit more likely to cause some conflict.
Yeah.
And then we move to selling oil.
Nope.
No? Ooh.
Contingency. Since I'm the
Contingency.
last person. I'm just gonna take the mercenary.
Nicely
You
done.
son of a gun.
Yeah.
Get
So
the
when I sell oil, I can pick one other player that this player may not steal oil from you.
I feel like you have to pick that player now.
No, you choose.
When you sell.
All
you
the
sell
actions for consultants happen during the round that they have listed on the
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
That's cool. Right. I'll
Words are
take the
hard,
insert.
boys. Words are in fact hard.
So, whenever I pick an action for the round, I can peek at someone else's card they put in.
And you pick after everyone else has already picked. Could be super
Yeah.
powerful.
Cool idea.
Just a quick question. I think I know the answer already.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got 2 oil barrels, obviously. If you
Yes.
had both oil barrels on the board and you sell oil, you could only sell one at a time, right?
I believe so. Let me double check the sell action.
I'm just having a look in the rules here anyway. Just
I'm nowhere near
I
the
feel like it's
selection.
probably.
It hasn't really come into play.
Yes, one.
One
Yeah,
at a
choose
time.
one. Choose one region.
Yeah.
Cool. Just wanted to.
I
just
like
wanted
the idea of having 2 out on the board and being able to sell both, but it would be very, very risky because people could very quickly take that oil away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get through another round. Have an event. People are starving.
Not my problem, frankly.
Uh-oh.
If you take this action, you take $8 and increase corruption by 1. But this round, corruption is increasing by 1, and we remove 1 troop cube from each faction from the track. It is out of the game
Oh
forever.
wow.
Everything is
Oh,
now
wow.
more expensive. You are no longer getting as much money. That would be a rough one to get at the start of the game. Getting it at the end is just tighten the screws just a little bit.
That is brutal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
What would everyone like to do?
I was sitting here last turn, Reese, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll just let him do his thing because at least I'm gonna get my, get my little cut as he comes through the port.
I'm like, I gotta try and make as much money as I can, right? I gotta try and
No.
catch up.
Wait just a second.
I'm gonna
everyone.
release the
I'm gonna
hounds.
Peek at someone's card before.
Oh yeah.
And seeing as
So-
both you are at the front, though, you will get to go before anyone if there are ties. So this could be very powerful for you.
Yeah, I really like this power actually. So,
It's great in any game. We Nidavellir had it as well, where you could choose last and choose one revealed. Everyone else reveals, and then you get to go. So you can always it's crazy. Always get to go when you want.
Okay. So now I know what Kai is doing this round. Omnicorp, should I say?
Good old Omnicorp.
Okay. Well, that's me resolved for now.
Cool.
All right, ladies and gents, who is networking?
I am.
I'm also
Bazinga.
networking.
Me first.
Yes. Would you like to blackmail anyone if you have cards? But I believe from last round you don't have any cards.
But
Rough.
I'll get to take a new one from the shuffled
Yep. So
pile.
we will. You feel free to flip them over and give them a quick shuffle.
Where's the old shuffle? There it is. Take one of those.
And then, would you like to bribe anyone? Bribing has become quite expensive now that all those cubes have disappeared.
It has. However, I can bribe by only paying the bank at half.
Oh, damn! I
So
forgot
it's
you
not
could do that.
Bad for me. It's not terrible. I will be taking the military token from Kai for the red faction. Sorry,
Damn.
false. That is not true.
That is fake news.
The brown faction. From
There's nothing I can do to stop
Beck.
this.
Not at
No.
all.
And it will cost me 6 coins only to the bank, and Beck gets nothing.
Right, boys, false alarm. Power down the WMDs. It's all right.
For what it's worth, I was going to do the exact same thing, and now I have to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Can you steal it from me? You'll
I
have to,
can
pay
steal it
money.
from you, actually, and that's not a bad idea. It costs me a lot, but both Kai and Beck have barrels that they want to sell. On the
But
other
I
hand,
know what I submitted, so what did I do that
yeah.
makes you think? Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm going to take my blackmail card and see if that changes my mind at all. Not really. I think it's still the right move. There is at least the potential for 2 people to come through and give me $10 dues. So it will cost me a lot of money. It's going to cost me 12, and you basically get your money back, Chris.
Yeah.
So I'm down
67.
to 122, but now at least I have control of a couple of people. I could also have used my religious leader, but I prefer to have him in my control for placing oil barrels down in the future. That is my turn. We move on to placing troops, selling weapons, which is suddenly a lot less profitable now that there has been a famine and people have lost their troops. Anyone?
Lives?
Look, I was saying it kindly because I'm a politician. Actually, I'm not. I don't control any politicians. Is anyone selling troops? Selling weapons? Not at all. All right. Drilling rights.
I believe that's a no.
Who would like to buy some drilling rights this round? Ooh, all right. All right.
Alright.
And
Interesting.
who would like to sell oil?
Yes.
Would love to sell oil.
Nicely
Bang,
done.
bang.
Well,
Bang,
we
bang,
start with Rebecca.
Yep, and I will be starting by blackmailing the military leader to come back to me.
And I will be starting by blocking that.
Oh!
Oh my
Rough.
god.
I
The
drew that
one,
card.
no, I'm not. Let me rant for a second here, because the only I can't block you guys from taking it. But every single time I've tried to blackmail them to come back, you guys have magically had the cards in your hand.
Timing
So I'm
is
a rant
rough.
for a second, and you cannot be like, "Oh, that's so lucky." Fuck you.
Lucky for me, unlucky for you. I was tossing up what to bribe, and then I drew that card and went, well, I gotta do it now. Rebecca, where would you like to sell your oil?
That's rough.
Okay, so I'm selling it on the blue. If I sell it in the uncontrolled port, I only get 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you sell it in the brown one, you get 16. So the question is, do you want to give me $10 or not?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What a difficult decision.
Absolutely not. 15 for 16. I'm selling that to nobody.
Yeah.
I'm just dumping it in the
I'm
ocean.
in agreement. United
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
Correct.
Don't blame
Thanks,
you
just-
one bit.
Beck's just driving by, looking at Tom's port, and they're like, "Hey, come over here." And Beck's like, "Bye-bye."
Oh no,
Dump it.
it's a one finger or two finger wave, not a full
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Empties the 40-gallon drum into the ocean, onto a seal.
Next, we do go to Reese and
Yep.
the general business company. Reese, you are in control of a very powerful card. What would you like to do with it?
So I would like to first of all, I'd like to tell Kai. Sorry, Kai, you cannot steal any oil from me this turn.
Look at my rocket launcher. You don't want to have that go off near this oil.
Yeah.
That's
My
a pretty big
mercenary.
RPG, sir. Please come
My-
right this way. VIP, red carpet.
Yeah, my mercenary, Nicolas Cage has told you, no, this will not be happening. And then, can I get some, nices in chat? Some nice, please?
No.
Because I'm going to be selling it there for 30. Taking me up to the weed number.
Yeah!
Oh, you special boy.
Well played, Reese. That was good.
Oh, where'd my card go?
That's cool. I dig that power. And Kai, last but not least, where would you like to sell your oil?
Well, first of all, I would like to give back a little bit of Schadenfreude by playing the religious leader
Yeah.
to scoop this guy up.
Hi, I'm not mad at you.
No, I know. I just thought you'd enjoy seeing Tom lose it.
It doesn't help me now.
Well, no. Look, that's why I said Schadenfreude, alright? It
Yeah.
doesn't help you, but it's just nice to watch
Yeah.
him suffer. And then I will sell the oil through this port, which I get to sell it for one higher than is listed. So I get $30.
Damn.
Oof.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
nasty.
Oof.
Probably should have seen that one coming. Oh well. All right,
Probably.
that is everyone, I believe. Who? Does anyone have anything to say? No, we're all hunky dory at the moment.
I think we did.
I think that's it for the round, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
What
did
we
it
got
again.
next?
Another event.
Coup.
Hey,
We're now
coup.
playing coup.
Playing coup, boys. This could be the end of the game. If someone wants to take this action or is forced to take this action, corruption will increase by 1. And we increase corruption by 1. This round, call actions in inverse order, starting with 5 and going up to 1. Let me check how the end of the game triggers, because potentially Kai could just trigger we move up to 99, I believe.
Yeah, so Kai could feasibly end the game because he's Omnicorp and he's going first.
I think we would still play the round out because I'm pretty sure you check at the end of the round if corruption is 100, and if so, it's the end of the game. So
Jordy, how does it work?
I think we would still play through all turns, but
There's
in
an
opposite
important
order.
change on the rules. Let's wait for Geordie.
Oh, yeah, we've got some clarification from the developer.
This is way better than posting the question on Board Game Geek and then getting an answer like 6 weeks later. Having the dev in chat just being like, hey.
Yeah, imagine that. You could just like...
Just having the dev on speed dial, just be like, hey Geordie, we're just playing through this. Can you tell us what the deal is?
Can you just resolve an argument for me, please?
Okay, so you finish the turn, play another round, and then the game finishes.
Ah, okay,
Okay,
that
one
is
more
very
round.
important.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so you get one more round to like fling your oil into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Very interesting.
That and we're going in reverse now as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bloody hell.
Ooh, what
So
do I want
does that
to do?
mean that you wouldn't get to take the contingency action if you get contingencyed? Because
Oh,
contingency is
man.
happening first?
Yeah, that'd be brutal.
It is nasty.
Speak up.
Okay. I'm set.
Is
No,
everyone set?
I will peek first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I get to peek and then decide which
And then
cards
decide
to
what you
throw.
get to put down, yeah.
Well, I'll be peeking. Peeking duck at... Oh, God.
I really wanted to take control of that middle port at some point, but it's just never come up at the right time.
Yeah, I was really considering trying to get it taken. But yeah.
I guess the question is, Geordie, because corruption contingency is coming first. If someone can't do their action for whatever reason, they will then not get to take an action this round because contingency has already happened. But let's see. Starting backwards.
Yeah,
They
lose
lose
the
the action. Starting backwards. Is anyone taking the contingency action to trigger the end of the game?
Has Chris picked an action?
I believe he has.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, he has. Oh, it's over here for some reason.
Yeah. In front of him. Yes.
Is anyone taking the contingency action to trigger the end of the game?
Kai
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? Right? Like.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take $8
Yeah.
and increase the corruption by 1.
So this triggers the end of the game. We will have one more round after this. I never even checked what the results of the poll were. Broom Service, by a bit, Broom Service is still leading the way for our monthly voted games.
Oh. Kai, I've accidentally rolled on your number. What was it on?
was that?
171.
I was zooming in, and I think I moused over your money.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's right. We got it.
Please continue to zoom in over my cash.
Cool.
All right.
So, did you take your $8, Kai?
I
Yeah.
did, yes, thank you.
And then we go to selling oil. I don't believe anyone is in a position to sell oil.
No.
There are no oil barrels.
Oh, fuck.
Have you done the wrong one?
Yeah, give me a second.
It's fine, man. We got you.
Same thing, like in the early game. I was like,
All
shit,
right.
I don't have any
Yeah,
oil.
yeah. I read my cards wrong. It's alright.
Buying oil.
I-
Who would like to buy oil?
I would.
Everyone
I'm
wants to
buying
buy
oil,
oil.
right?
So I have priority, and I will be using my religious token to take Kai's oil profiteer prime minister away from him, and then where do I want to build? I guess there's nowhere necessarily bad or good. It just depends if Kai wants to somehow stop me from making money in a little bit. So let's play it safe and see what happens. And I'll chuck my oil barrel up there. Next in the order, Chris, where would you like to buy oil? And at the moment, you cannot.
But
Because-
Tom failed to realize that I want the red sunglasses.
Ah,
Hand them over.
sure. Yep.
Rough.
That works.
And I will indeed be plonking oil over here into this.
That is a nasty move, but a very good move.
All right, that's my turn.
Well, I choose to do nothing because I cannot put any oil.
Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. At least
Oh,
you're.
actually, hold on. Give me a sec. Nah, I'm not gonna.
At least
All
you
good.
most likely end the game on the nice number.
Yeah,
That's what I was
that's
thinking
probably the
of.
best. Yeah.
I was
Rebecca,
facilitating.
your camera seems to
Real
be
winner.
dead on my screen.
Oh,
Oh no, it's back.
I did swap to a different one because for whatever reason it just got super hot. So I was like just bright orange.
Yep,
So just changing that.
appreciate it.
Because I have the blue military leader, it does mean that I want to bribe the political leader for the, what are they called? United Liberation Front or National Liberation Front. So I'm going to go ahead and pay 6.
You're
to
buying
bribe
drilling
him.
rights, not briaring.
Oh, right. Damn it. I was like, I'll steal it away. I'm talking as softly as I can. I can still hear myself in my ears. Silver thing in the universe.
Can't you mute
All right.
yourself in?
It's not about that, it's about her talking.
Yep.
Got it.
Just click there.
Apologies to everyone
Alright.
wanting to see their faces. I'm seeing what I can do about that. There we go. That might help.
All right. So, I'm going to place my drilling rights just in this top section. I know it's named, but for the life of me, Upper Mountain Department, I think. Yeah.
Oh god, I
Okay.
can't now. Yeah, Upper
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yeah, I think we have
Department.
that right.
Yeah, so we're placing them up in the Upper Mountain Department because I am buying drilling rights. That means I have to pay 10 to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have the political leader, so 4.
Cool. And so I believe that is everyone's actions done. Or done
Yep.
as much as they can be, unfortunately for Reese. And we move to the next round. Reese, do flip over a contingency card, but it is
Last
just a consultant, the cultural advisor at the start of your turn. Instead of blackmail, you may switch one of your leaders with another of the same faction. That is beautiful.
That's cool. Wow.
I love that. That would have been so useful.
Yeah, getting them early game, I think, is a really important thing too.
Let's see what happens here. I'm very interested to see what Kai chooses.
I'm very interested too. I think it's going to be a surprise for all of us. So you guys have all, at this point, except for Reese, got oil on the board, right?
Yep.
Chris doesn't. Oh, never mind.
I
Yep.
do. Yeah.
Reese got just a little bit. It's interesting how much just certain leaders become so much more important at certain points of the game, and how much of that can be based on the dice rolls. Like, imagine if Brown had managed to take control and keep control of one of these oil wells. Suddenly, their political leader is a whole lot more important, or spread out a lot more, and like taking control of this whole top area, locking everyone else in a bit more if they want to fight their way out.
Yeah, brown and red have been factions of like the most contest, I think. Like blue is mostly sort of for the oil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Whereas-
Brown's... Honestly,
Yeah,
control of
Brown-
Brown's military leader has really been the turning point in this game.
Right. I am going to be looking at Tom's card.
Just to check.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Gonna pick my leader.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, my
Chris,
card to
Chris
play.
hasn't actually picked just yet.
I have not. Give me a moment. I might be. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, card? I can't see your card outside.
Hang on a minute. I'm still thinking.
Still thinking.
Don't do it. Okay, you're selling in that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Beautiful lady.
Okay, alright. I've decided.
All right. Is anybody networking this round?
Yes,
think-
I am.
Ooh.
I was tossing up between two things. And now that I'm thinking about it a bit more, I think I should have gone the other of the two things.
What else were you?
But-
What else were you tossing up?
The other thing I was considering was to sell weapons in here.
Yeah.
In here, and then try to take out the port.
But you
so then
control
everyone
the
was
port.
selling their oil for potatoes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to network instead, just because blowing stuff up for no reason sounds very unenvironmentally friendly.
Who cares about environmentally friendly when you can make millions of dollars? Multiple
Selling
millions
fossil
of
fuels.
dollars.
So I'm going to take the blackmail card.
Yep.
And then I'm going to bribe the brown political leader
For $6 dues.
for $6 reduce. Oh, I didn't get my 6 for my 3,
Yep. So it just equals out.
so it breaks it.
God, that's powerful.
Nicely done. Is anybody selling weapons for a quick bit of dosh right at the end?
No.
All right. Is anybody buying drilling rights?
I imagine
Sounds like a good play for the last round, definitely.
Yeah.
Is anyone selling oil?
Bang.
Couple of us are. All right. We go through the order. So we start with Griswold. Griswold, are you doing any kind of stealing away of people at the last moment?
No, I am not. I wish I could. So I'll just be selling a simple drum of oil down at the red port here for $30 dues, 10 of which will be lapped up by Kai.
Thank
So-
you very much. Whoops, that was 20.
So
not 10.
that was unavoidable. I was thinking about perhaps like trying to screw with the brown port on the
Yeah.
last leg of the game, but it would have equaled out to less money, and also there wasn't a certainty that I could. So,
Fair. At least you got some dosh. Next is me. I do not have a choice of where I sell. It just travels all the way down, and I sell for $26 dues, and Kai gets 10 of it, so I only get the 16. The rich get richer.
yeah.
And lastly, for selling, Rebecca, where would you like to sell? You have a choice.
I do have a choice, and again, I will not allow the rich to get richer, so we'll be just dumping it in the ocean here for 15.
Selling it to pirates.
Yeah. No, you know what, Kai? I'm selling it to refugees trying to get away from this hell-stricken landscape. They can take it.
And Reese, what would you like to do for your final action?
I'll take the contingency.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Just to get the cultural advisor.
Hey, nice
so I
one.
can end the game on $69.
Proud of
The
you, buddy.
real
Proud of you.
winner.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of Peak Oil Profiteer. Let's get a final wrap up of the scores. Chris, who played a lot, all over the board, really. You didn't have one strategy. How'd you do?
I ended up with $87 million, coming second last. I have some thoughts on the game I'll share afterwards with old Geordie. And yeah, no, but I had a lot of fun.
All right. Kai, our winner, as you can clearly see, on $191 dues. Kai, what do you think was the turning point for you? Where did you end up winning this game?
When I stopped trying to play nice.
Yeah.
You had a massive
think-
comeback. You started out getting screwed quite often, but it ended
Yeah.
up working for you.
I think I just had a lucky couple of rounds with no one screwing with the orange port, and and just let me drill the oil and sell it like 2 rounds in a row.
Admittedly, then with your this card, your sales representative, getting you an extra, basically, what was that? $2 to $5 every time you sold was
Yeah.
quite nice.
definitely helpful. Definitely helpful. And owning that port, I think Reese paid me once, I think it was, out of that port, which helped.
Now, Reese, speaking of him, is the real winner. Any quick thoughts before we jump into bigger thoughts later on?
Fun game. Fun
Fun
game.
game? Solid game?
Yeah, overall I really like the interaction with players. I think the owning of ports is probably the most interesting aspect to me. The fact that like, I have to sell my oil, but I also have to give someone $10 to sell my oil.
Yeah.
So it is that trade-off of like, who do I sell this oil to? Do I bother selling the oil because it's just gonna put this person even further in the lead? You know. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, no, I thought this was a cool, fun game. So. And you can put that on the box. You can say, Reese, Nerds of the West, cool, fun game.
Cool, fun game.
Cool fun game.
Yeah.
Beck, in a solid third place, always fighting with everyone, it seems. How did you... Any thoughts from you?
Let me organize my thoughts. Like, I think I had fun. So...
It is that kind of power grid. You're doing the maths. You're doing the what will someone else do. All right.
That's not on the box. I think I had fun.
Is everyone keen to hang out and talk with Geordie? Because it should be fairly simple for me to add in a camera for him.
Yeah, I just really need to duck off to
Absolutely.
the loo.
I'm going to
I'll be
run
back.
a quick merch ad. I believe I've got that set up and ready to play. Or it's going to be something else, and I don't have the merch ad set up. So we'll see what happens. Thank you very much. We'll be back very soon chatting with Geordie from Two Tomatoes. What's it called? It is Two Tomatoes. I got it right. I'm a professional. Two Tomatoes Games.
Okay.
Coffee.
Yo, Lachlan, when do we get merch?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Where's my laptop gone?
That's right, Lachlan. We have Nerds of the West merchandise.
That's not my laptop.
Yep, so we have shirts available in different
That's
colors and
still
sizes.
not my laptop.
We have hoodies available in different
That's not
colors
my
and
coffee.
sizes. And also, we have mugs.
I love mugs.
I love mugs too, Lachlan.
I think we should stop saying that word.
I 100% agree. Anyway, guys, if you want any of this Nerds of the West merchandise, feel free to click on our link below. It helps support the channel and it gives you some sick new threads.
And if you want to see anything new, then let us know. We're always working on new designs. Like, if you want to see hats, let us know. If you want to see more mugs, let us know. I've said mugs.
For reals though, be sure to visit our Nerds of the West store at nerdsoftheweststore.company.site, where you can pick up your hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, and any new cool stuff we release in the future.
Anyway, guys, I've been Reese. This has been Lachlan. We've been Nerds of the West. We'll catch you all next time.
Coffee.
Yo, Lachlan, when do we get merch?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Where's my laptop gone?
That's right, Lachlan. We have Nerds of the West merchandise.
That's not my laptop.
Yep, so we have shirts available in different
That's
colors and
still
sizes.
not my laptop.
We have hoodies available in different
That's not
colors
my
and sizes.
coffee.
And also, we have mugs.
I love mugs.
I love mugs too, Lachlan.
I think we should stop saying that word.
I 100% agree. Anyway, guys, if you want any of this Nerds of the West merchandise, feel free to click on our link below. It helps support the channel and it gives you some sick new threads.
And if you want to see anything new, then let us know. We're always working on new designs. Like, if you want to see hats, let us know. If you want to see more mugs, let us know. I've said mugs.
For reals though, be sure to visit our Nerds of the West store at nerdsoftheweststore.company.site, where you can pick up your hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, and any new cool stuff we release in the future.
Anyway, guys, I've been Reese. This has been Lachlan. We've been Nerds of the West. We'll catch you all next time. Murphy. Yo, Lachlan.
Let's hope stream doesn't break. It all broke. Of course it all broke. Let me sort those out. Hello, please welcome our friend Geordie from Two Tomatoes Games. And hello, Silver Medal Tavern. Thank you so much. How did you go in your draft today while I fix everyone's cameras?
Welcome in, Silver Medal Tavern.
SMT was playing a quick round of MTG Arena with some beautiful drafting action going on. Reese's camera is very broken. But that is my fault, not Reese's fault.
Reese's
Part of me
very
wants to
broken.
go look at Tom's computer screen just so I can see what it looks like. Because
Reese's camera's broken, but Reese is always broken on the inside. Sorry.
Didn't have enough to draft? That's a shame. Oh well. So, Geordie, please tell us about yourselves and Two Tomatoes Games and where you guys started, where it came from, and how long you guys have been making games. All pertinent information, really.
Okay, so Two Tomatoes is basically two people. That's Alvaro, my business partner, and I. We met, how many years now? Like around 21 years ago, first day at uni. Then we studied together, we worked together, but we were working on a completely different field. So we're both civil engineers. And we've worked I've worked a lot in Africa, and he's worked a lot in South America and Latin America. And one day we decided that that was not like a good career path for us. So we started, we love board games since like forever and role play and stuff. So we set up our company, and it's been, in like a month or so, the company will be 5 years old.
Damn.
Oh,
Sounds a lot like Nerds of the West, minus the fact that we all live in Australia instead of all over the world.
We all met at uni, and
Yeah.
That's really cool. So in this game, it takes out, even though we didn't work in the oil industry, we worked in construction business. And more or less the business is more or less as you see it in this game. well, except of the selling of the weapons.
Minus the guns, yeah.
No? Yeah, but all the bribes and all that jazz, it's like 100% real life. So we were very interested when the authors, Heiko and Tobias, who are also the authors of the first title in the series, the normal Picoil, they presented us this design, and we were like completely hooked. So we're very happy that now it's funded on Kickstarter, and we're going to be delivering it next year.
Yeah, your Kickstarter's hit about 200% completion. I believe last time I checked, which is incredible.
Yeah, we know it's a very niche game, mainly because of the theme. But we think that it's also important in board games that there's space for everything. Of course, we like board games where you like sell ship or dig for gold or stuff like that. But we also think that it's important that there's some board games that have contemporary themes and maybe, let's say, more adult themes in a way. So on this line of games, on the Picoil series, we're committed to doing that. So precisely taking themes that are completely contemporary and that maybe they are not as exploited as other themes, and give them a spin.
Nice.
And also all the games in the series, the other link between them is that there's always a lot of player interaction. We really love player interaction, so.
Yeah.
But I can understand that it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but that's
perfectly okay. So now that we're kind of touching on the topic of the game, how long did it take for Peak Oil Profiteer to come about? How long's the process been? What's the process been like?
Okay, so for this one, we already presented the prototype in Essen 2019. And it's been in development ever since. Obviously, we have other games in development. We're not just working on Peak Oil Profiteer. But usually it takes quite a long time because, that's one thing that most publishers will tell you. that when an author presents you a game, they always say that it's, yeah, don't worry, it's like 99% done.
No.
But usually, there were indeed good foundations for the game. But also, Heiko and Tobias, despite being German, that the German players have a reputation for not liking direct interaction and confrontation, they do like it a lot. So we actually had to do a lot of testing and development to reduce the amount of, take that in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And also then we did a lot of work with the different configurations of the map, because it has changed quite a lot, and the consultants. The actions stayed more or less the same.
I have to imagine
what
you'd have to
changed more
balance
was
around all the actions. So
Yeah.
changing that would be
all the
crazy.
consultants, and especially the leader control mechanics, they changed quite a lot from the original draft.
Stephen from Board Game House is saying that you're brutal and take no prisoners.
Well, I told them that, like, the last couple of games that I played of Oil Profiteer, I lost, like, very badly. So when I played with them, I was like, now I have to
Get right
at
in there.
least try to win. So, but Megan, she was just like 2 million under my score. So it was a very tight end.
Damn. All right. I've got a couple of other questions, but I'll open it up to you guys. Do you have any questions about the development, anything about this game before we move on?
I have a quick one. Was there at any point you guys considered changing the theme, or has this kind of game always had to be the oil kind of game theme?
Okay, that's a very good question. Look, when we first met the authors for Peak Oil, like the first volume, we had taken a meeting at Essen because I was interested in another game that they had made. And when I told them what we wanted to do in our company, in Two Tomatoes, because we in Two Tomatoes we do licensing. So, for example, we do Root in Spanish or John Company in Spanish and things like this. But what we like the most is to develop our own games, right? And since the beginning, we wanted to do games with these characteristics that I was mentioning before, like contemporary themes and a lot of player interaction. So when I told them about this, they said, okay, forget about this game that you were looking into it and look at this one, which was Peak Oil #1. So yeah, for us, no. When they said we have this game that can be like a Zoom of Peak Oil, we were instantly loving it. Like, for us, it's very important, and yeah, completely in with the theme. Even though, in this one, what we've made is that we recommended the game to be played for players of 16 and up, like 16 years old and up. Not because of the complexity, because it's not a very complex game, but I think that some of the themes and some of the things that you do in the game, maybe it's better not suited for like smaller audiences.
100%.
Understood, yeah.
Anyone else?
I appreciated the theme a lot, actually, because it's sort of like, it's kind of a bit tongue-in-cheek. On one hand, we're here playing a board game about, sort of trying to do the dirty on your friends and subvert the people around you, but it's also like a good analog for the real world, because obviously it's about profiteering by drilling and selling oil,
Any means necessary.
playing factions, or rather countries, against one another. It has like real world implications. So I appreciate the theme and sort of going there and raising those questions. Very clever as well.
Yeah, I think it's very like different to what's currently out there with a lot of board games, because like a lot of themes out there are just sort of like more open to like everyone, more general, I guess.
There's some very broad themes that are just like, this is in a forest, this is mining.
Yeah.
And I really dig this. It's something that sort of clicks with me, and it's also cool because it's something different to show to friends that don't really know board games that well, and be like, here's like another example of what board games can be, because that the general public have their own assumptions of board games, and I know a lot of board game people have been trying to like shine more of a light on like the board game hobby, like, and I think this is just like another really cool one to show off and be like, this is something cool that board games can be, and it's different to what you generally think board games are. So I really dig the theme and what you guys are trying to do.
There's also been a lot of discussion about board games actually having a say in the world and having a reflection and being an art form that can actually do some good. So having something that, I don't know if there's necessarily a message behind Peak Oil Profiteer, but shining a light on this this side of the world is definitely a good thing in my books.
Look, it definitely makes me want to drive an electric car.
Well, that's
gotta
good.
love those taxes in Australia.
Regarding the message, so our first game that in fact was authored by Alvaro and I, it's called Lord of the Pigs, and it's a very simple card game, and it's about the economic crisis in the southern countries in Europe. So since the beginning, for our own games, we wanted to put a bit of message, but for example on that one the message was too apparent, and I think that this causes a lot of rejection on like normal board game players, because they're like, yeah, I don't want to play this because it's too realistic. I just want to play, to like relax and, let's say, forget about the world a little bit. Yeah. So in the Picker series, we tried to refine this a little bit, as Chris was saying, put a bit the tongue-in-cheek, flavor there, so that it's not too much like on your face. But definitely... Sorry.
I think we're still in sort of a transition period with board games. We've seen the same thing sort of with video games, where they went from just being silly fun to now they can have a serious message and be an important piece of art. And I think board games are still working towards it. So this is a good mid-ground, I think, of being not shying away from a real political and global issue, but it's not shoving it down your throat. Like, we're still trying to win the game by being the bad guys, rather than it trying to force something down your throats. It's a good point, I think, for where we're at in the medium at the moment.
Also, what Rhys was saying, look, most of my close friends, they don't play anything. They don't play board games. They don't role play. They don't play PC games or nothing. But when I show them like the boxes of the Pickle series, they're like, okay, this like looks interesting. They would never look at, say, I don't know, Agricola or something like that. They will be like, what is this? Yeah. But I do get to make to make them play sometimes. But it's much easier with those games that have a contemporary theme than, we're merchant princess in the Renaissance, or we're nondescript farmers selling sheep. That's not going to do it for them.
So touching on that then, who does the art? Do you outsource the art to someone else, or do you have in-house artists that do all of your design and artwork at Two Tomatoes?
So for each project, we usually work with someone different. But for the Peak Oil series, is in fact Heiko, who is one of the authors of Peak Oil and Peak Oil Profiteer. He does all the artwork because, his day job is he's a graphic designer, but he's been working in the board game industry for quite a lot of years now. He does mainly graphic design, but he's worked for Horrible Games or Four Games. So there's a lot of games that you usually have played that he's done, for example, the layout for the rules or some graphic design for elements in the game.
That's great.
And for the rest of the games that we publish, like it's not a license, we've worked twice with a wonderful Spanish illustrator, Sergi Marcet, that you might know him for what's the name of the game? Well, I will look and I will tell you, but it's an American game. And also with a French illustrator, like Vallarella, that has done a couple of games for us too. So we try to change it up. Now we're cooking up a new game that it's aimed at broad audience. It doesn't have like contemporary theme or anything. It's an abstract game. But we're working with Tatiana Boyko, who she's a half Spanish, half Russian illustrator, and she has never worked in board games before.
Oh wow!
She's done illustration from rock posters, like posters of Kurt Weill and stuff like this, and to illustrations for fashion magazines and for Italian cakes, like, but never worked in the board game industry. So we try to, bring different things into the hobby.
All right, I guess we'll if no one else has anything to say on those couple of topics, we might move on to thoughts on the game. So you were saying this is. It's always the case with games on Kickstarter. They're at as close as you can, but you're always just refining those last little bits. I think I speak for most of us here. The one major, maybe when we go into problems, good things about the game first. What did you guys think were the best parts about the game? Because I came into this thinking it would be like Power Grid, where you had to make a bit of money, spend a bit of money, and the balance would be in finding the right way to do all of it. Where it ended up being a lot more manage your money in a way that lets you be political at the right time and interact with players to then make the most money at the opportune moment, which was a much more interesting design choice. I don't know about the rest of you, but that was my major takeaway.
Yeah. Like I think overall the gameplay is super strong. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's interesting and fresh to me as well. To me, I feel like it does borrow elements from like Power Grid. That was the main thing that sort of stuck out to me. But that's also because I love Power Grid. But like ultimately the trying to figure out what everyone else is doing, having how everyone's priority constantly shift, so you're never focusing on just like what's this person doing, what that person doing. It's like, okay, what can I do in with the tools available to me? I also felt like I never had a turn where where I couldn't do something. I mean, there were times where you had the option taken away from you, but like you can also do that to other people, and you still end up doing something that helps you progress in the game. Yeah. Like with the contingency, like you still get you get the contingency card, or you get some money. Like there was always still something pushing forward, unless you ultimately fell down the hole of like you tried to do some stuff and then it just didn't work. But I think even then, like by the time that sets in, the game moves quick enough that you go, all right, well now it's time to figure out what I'm doing this turn. There's never like sitting there for a while and being like, oh, now I've got nothing. It just keeps moving and rolling, and I think that's overall like a very enjoyable game.
It helps that the rounds are very quick as well. Like we were smashing through rounds in just a couple of minutes, and I can imagine at the table it's going to be even faster than that.
Yeah, we're notorious for going slower on stream.
I'm not sure how many streamers you've talked to, but it's like anytime you're playing a game, just like almost double the amount of time it says on the box, because it's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
True. Kai, thoughts?
Yeah. I definitely at the very start of the game, I obviously had a pretty poor start to the game. I'm not sure if you caught the very start, Geordie, but I got stymied at every turn. For my first sort of 2 or 3 turns, I had no leaders, I had no money, things were not looking good, and I was starting to worry that it might be like an Istanbul situation. And most of you probably know that Istanbul I really dislike, because you have these really well laid plans and then someone can just step in and ruin them completely. So I was worried that was the way things were going to go. But like Reece said, even when that happened, I ended up getting the contingency instead, which actually 2 of those contingency cards I didn't plan on having. I kind of got them because my other plans got stuffed, and they ended up being really good for me in the end. That extra money from selling and that sort of thing. So I think that it balances itself out over the length of the game. So even if you get beat on pretty hard at the start, I eventually won. So obviously that scale tipped the other way halfway through. So I think that was really well done, not making you feel like your turns are completely useless, even if someone does step in and have a bit of take that. The other thing was the bribes. Even though they get more expensive, they're still, compared to how much money you have, kind of mid to late game. It's not like if I really want one of those leaders, it's not necessarily going to be money that's prohibiting me from getting him. It's more, do I want to spend my turn getting the leader? So I think that was good as well. It's not, even the people with less money towards the end of the game could quite easily afford to buy or bribe any leader from anyone they wanted to, but it's, do I want to spend an entire turn getting that leader and then hoping they don't get taken off me?
An interesting note that you're always making money then. No matter what you're doing, you will always be making money.
So I like how it sort of balanced itself over the course of the game. It sort of, there were moments when things felt like they might sort of start slipping, but it did a really good job of pacing things out over the course of the game to be pretty balanced, I think.
Well, I'm happy that you and Reese are mentioning the consultant thing, that when you get foiled, you at least get contingency, because that was like a let's say a hard battle with the authors, because they were like, no, if you are foiled, then you lose your turn, and we were like, come on, you have to give a little incentive, no?
Yeah. See, if that was the case, I don't think I would have enjoyed the game as much, because then it would have been like that Istanbul situation where if you get someone step in, which is very easy to step on someone's toes in this game, it was quite easy for me to take a political leader that meant that Reese couldn't build, couldn't buy oil rights. So it was quite easy to block someone from doing anything. And if that meant that your entire turn was gone, I think that would be, far too much of a setback. So I think it was a really good, struck a good balance. And there's still times when, the first time I had to take the contingency, there wasn't a card left, so I just got the $5, which felt pretty rough. But that only happens until that deck builds up enough to have something there. And there would be the occasion where you might get forced to take one of those event cards that isn't as good for you, like it's just money and more corruption. So it could sometimes work out worse, but oftentimes there's going to be that consultant there that is always going to be a good thing one way or another. So I think it strikes a good balance of being able to stop people, but they're not going to be completely knocked out of the game because of it.
Yeah. So just a nip tip about the rules, that remember that when you do contingency, you either take the top card, or then you can pay for 1 million that you pay, you can look at the card below. So that can be very useful in the rules.
I did forget that, but luckily
because
that came up.
This can be like, you can activate, like, surprise, I activate an event that had already gone. Or if you really wanted that consultant but you couldn't get it on that round, you can go, well, you have to pay a bit, but you can go dig for that consultant. Because like there's several combinations of consultants. There's a trio of consultants that you can have, for example, that one of the guys from Boardgame House assembled on the last play, that really benefits you a lot when you sell weapons. So it can become a way to really win the game. So
I wonder about that. Is there anything crazy that we didn't do, we didn't see, or any opportunities in the game that didn't come up?
I think that you played quite well. There's always the very nasty move that you can do sometimes when somebody has a drilling rights already on the table, but doesn't control any leader of that faction. You can steal the drilling rights from them.
That's only happened once, but it got it's tough.
Yeah, it's a bit nasty.
Sorry, not sorry, Reese.
And also Kai was telling about the cost to bribe, and that's another thing that we've been testing for a long time. to fine-tune the numbers, you know? So to find that middle ground between not being so cheap that it's negligible and not being that expensive that, I'm behind and I can even bribe this guy, you know?
Yeah.
So that was quite a lot of fine-tuning there.
Chris, your thoughts on the game? I think you had a very interesting time, a lot of back and forth.
Me.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to jump in and snag it before anyone else said it was I would like to praise the layout of the map. I think it's really cleverly designed. You've got the factions, two of which start essentially on the ports, and then the blue faction, starts up in the corner there. And I think that although like a lot of people might want a game like this to basically be like equal in every regard, I think that it makes for like the importance of the political leaders based on their faction can change very drastically through the course of the game, and the positions of the drilling points as well as the ports and things like that. I thought it was very clever and very well done. So that's what I'd like to say about that. The game itself, I had lots and lots and lots of fun playing. I know I lost pretty horribly, not as bad as Reese, I'm afraid, but I did.
Reese didn't lose, he won.
Reese said from the start that this is the kind of game that he loves but doesn't do well at.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like I would certainly play this again. And now that I've played it the first time, I'm beginning to realize where I went wrong. I think that politics and having more tokens and having the correct kinds of political tokens, religious tokens, and the military tokens is far more important than actually like assembling your own engine, as it were. For example, a good steal on a military captain can yield, 10, 20, $30 million in one round, supposing all of your opponents sold their oil. And I think like it's those opportunistic plays and having the capability of like gaining those opportunities that can actually turn the course of the game. That's what I think. Obviously, I didn't design the game, but that's what I felt like I was missing out on because I was sort of trying to build my own engine and I was doing it incorrectly, I think. But yeah, all of the contingency cards, I love them. I wish I had picked up earlier in the game that they were that powerful because I would have grabbed one and just like what happened with Kai, I think Kai ended up getting about $20 or $30 million with his contingency. So I wish I get to play it again sometime soon.
So, Chris, you'll be pleased to know that we've already unlocked in the Kickstarter campaign. We unlocked a second map, which is quite different. Okay, it has the same elements, but they are the arrangement, the disposition of the elements are different, and it plays quite different. And also, I wanted to chip in on this that the map is asymmetric because also the factions are asymmetric. If you look at the blackmail deck, not all the leaders have the same cards.
Yeah,
so,
distribution is
like the government military leader, which is supposed to be the best at stealing because they control the ports already. It's much more easy. It's much easier to do blackmail on him because there's 3 cards. But if you have the blue military leader, there's only 1 card. So, for example, getting the blue military leader and the consultant that lets you steal from the drilling region, that's a very good strategy.
Yeah.
Because you're bound to. It's more probable that you get to keep the blue military leader with you. But I recommend checking out the second map because, you'll see it's not like very much in your face, but then when you play, you're like, oh, yeah, this is really, really different gameplay.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Looks like a lot of fun. And Beck, how are you thinking about this game?
This game is like Gaia Project for me. Is like I really enjoyed playing it, and now that we've finished playing it, I would like to play it again to see if I can do better. I think probably the only thing I thought that would be an interesting play on potentially the rules was just if, like you've mentioned, there are 3 like military leader cards for the government faction. If you maybe tiered them So if like they were labeled like 1, 2, 3, and you could actually play against people in terms of the blackmail, like call it if Reese played, hey, I'm gonna blackmail this one. I go, well, I actually have the 3 for him, so you can't take him from me. That was kind of a thought that I had, and it's just because there were so many times in which I was like, I would like to take this guy, and then they would be like, no, and I was like,
You got incredibly
well,
unlucky
that's
with
it.
that.
I'll see you later, guys.
You got blocked like 3 times, I think.
And like also the fact that there were some things you just couldn't stop. Like for instance, someone could be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bribe you away from this other person," and it's like, "Well, I have blackmail for him. Why can't I stop this? Surely blackmail is more important." That's probably the only thing that I was just so frustrated about, and I finally snapped. I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore because
Don't worry,
everyone.
like this happens with the game a lot of times. Don't worry.
Because I just wanted the leader, or I wanted to hold on to him, and everybody came through and took him away. And then it was like, well, that's it for me. I'll see you guys later.
No, but definitely this idea that you're saying, like tiering the cards, could be interesting. We're going to try that.
It's yeah, but other than that, like I think the game is just really well balanced because it's not the kind of thing where you can sit there and be like, you can't like. I mean, obviously a couple people did run away with it, and unfortunately, like a couple of guys did get left behind. It would be interesting to see if it can be played in such a way so those people that are behind can catch up, and those people that are ahead can be dragged back. Because I just found myself sticking in the middle so much, and I was just like, well, I'm definitely not going to get that much money, but there's no way for me to lose that much money to end up in the end. And I was just like, okay.
I wonder how much of that comes down to player count, though, because we played it with 5, which is the max number of players.
Yep.
Do you find it plays better at 3 or 4, or at what stage?
To me, the best games I've had, but this was like with our testing team, you know, so let's say all of the players were like quite experienced because they've played it a lot. To me, the best games are with 5 players.
Okay.
Because at Two Tomatoes, we really love the interaction, but not only like on the board, but, you know, talking to each other, trying to convince another guy to do something. So it's, I don't know, like in other games, I don't know, let's put as an example, Root, you know? On Root, when somebody is ahead, first, naturally, there's going to be like kind of like a conspiration to gang up on that person, no? So that's something that usually happens in this game, because in the end you only have 1 action per turn. So if you convince another player, that's 2 actions against that guy or gal. So yeah, do we try to put some like mechanism, like a catch-up mechanism, but we didn't find anything that, you know, worked in a manner that we were satisfied. But we're going to try a bit more, because I think that it's difficult. With more players, the tendency is that the game should even out a bit more, you know, because there's more people who can, you know, try to foil the plans of the person who is leading. And usually they are not going to try to foil the plans of the person who is losing, because that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I mean, you already do kind of have a catch-up mechanic in play, and it is actually the contingency cards. Because it's like, I think Reese ended up getting a card that meant that people couldn't steal oil from him. Kai had one where for all of his religious or actual like political leaders, he got money from it. So there's definitely that sort of thing in play. I think it was just frustrating for me in the middle, because I was just like, I can't get forward and I can't fall behind enough to actually get my hands on a contingency card without giving up a turn. So that's probably just like the only...
The deal is the hard side of RNG.
The feedback that I get from a lot of testers is that when they finish the first game and they've seen a fair amount of consultants, then sometimes they want to go through the deck and see the other consultants. Because, yeah, definitely on your second play, you're like, okay, I know that consultant exists. So, or when it's flipped, it's like, okay, I know I know the ability, right, because I can read, but I've seen it in action before. So maybe I'm going to take that one. I'm going to lose an action, so to speak. But yeah, the consultants are very, very powerful. Like that's another thing that we did in development to really ramp up the power, because at the end you're like losing an action to get them. So it needs to pay off like almost instantly, no? And also for the thing I was saying before, that if you get foiled and you can take your action, you're most likely going to take a consultant. So to give you know a little extra for that.
Yeah.
So I guess
Something I kind of had a thought, just because we mentioned sort of, I suppose, catch up in a way, and then also the player interaction. I had a thought sort of halfway through that when I was really worried that Reese was going to do something that was going to stuff me up, it would be interesting to be able to have sort of bargaining and me say, look, I will give you $5 million if you don't take my religious leader this turn, and be able to sort of strike a deal in that sense might have been interesting. I don't know if that's something that would work in practice necessarily, but there was a moment when I was sitting there just terrified that Reese was going to take a leader from me, and I thought it'd be interesting to be able to say, look, I will give you $10 million when I sell this oil. Just please don't take this guy from me, and be able to, do some under the table dealings like that. I thought might have been interesting, but whether or not it would work in practice.
Yeah, this is a thing that we hadn't considered.
it'd be interesting to
I
only
think
have
it would be very, very thematic also. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
to
I'm
me,
going to, in the same way that you bribe leaders, you bribe another player. Like, yeah, just take those millions and
I'll
do
say,
it.
I won't take this oil away from you that you don't have any leaders to control anymore if you split the profits with me when you sell it. That that kind of thing. I thought might be interesting.
To me, it would have to all happen before actions are considered. You wouldn't be able to do it reactionary. You'd have to be proactive about it, and then the other person has the opportunity to make their decisions based on that information.
But
Like when you're picking your cards, I would think.
Yeah, and that could really work as well, because it's like, I know for me it was a case of you could tell when I was going to sell oil, because the action I did before was buy drilling rights. Like the next action every single time was sell the oil, because there's no way I'm going to hold on to it if I don't. So it's like, it's very easy, I think, to add that sort of negotiation tactic in, because it's not hard to try and predict what people are going to be doing.
I guess it comes down to how much it makes the game slow down. Because that is an important thing to consider.
Could be, or also could be like, a role that you can play with or without, depending on your group, I think it's a very good idea. I'll pass that on to the authors and the development team, and let's see what we can do. That's also another interesting thing about doing a Kickstarter, that we obviously have tested the game like a lot of times. But opening it up on a Kickstarter, you get feedback from people that maybe you would not have gotten the feedback from otherwise. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll move on to the slightly less fun, but the negatives. Reese, I know you had a slight issue with the wording on some stuff at one point.
Yeah, there was. I think the main thing that sticks out in my mind was we had a bit of confusion about stealing the oil, and how that actually happened.
Because
I think the part in the rule book. Let me just bring up the rule book in front of me.
It says.
And I don't know if this is changed or. But in the rule book, it says. Bear with me for 2 seconds.
I've got it if you can't find it.
Bear.
If you've got it in front of you, Tom.
If you control the military leader of a faction that controls a port that another player uses to sell, the military repurpose, in quotes, some of that oil for you. The player selling the oil has to pay you $10 after selling the oil. But in the game, it uses the words steal oil. And some of the cards use the word steal oil when the word steal wasn't in the rulebook. So we got a little bit confused.
Yeah.
I think it was also the fact on the quick reference card under the sell oil, it looks like there's a sub action called steal oil, which makes it seem like that's something that I, as the player doing the action, can do.
Yep. No, definitely. The rule book that we have is written by Heiko, and he really likes to put. If you've read the whole rule book, he likes to put like little jokes and a lot of words in brackets to give more the theme. But yeah, this needs to be fixed on the final version. We do like having rule books that are that give like maybe some jokes or some flavor text. But yeah, definitely needs to be clear. It needs to be specified.
Yeah. That was the main one for me. And then the other one was on the board, and this could totally just be Tabletopia. And we didn't realize that some of the or the areas on the board actually have names. Because they just blend in with the color of the area itself. So that was just the two big ones for me.
This is an issue because the board on Tabletopia has like light, so to speak, and it just messes with it. There's not enough contrast. This will not be a problem on the final game, and we didn't get around to really fix it. So that's
And as I said, other than that, I think I really like the art style that it's going for and stuff like that.
I think the issues we had all seem to be cosmetic rather than actual game issues, which is kind of where we want them to be.
That's good.
The other one was when Chris and Beck got a little bit confused about gaining money and losing money, just with the actions in the bottom corner and the numbers. Either having, I think the best idea we had was having anything where you're gaining money be in green and anything where you're paying money be in red, to be clear.
Or even just a plus or minus sign next to them, because that would be a world of difference. I think there were a couple of times where Chris and I were like, we're selling weapons, let's minus money.
Totally. No, totally. This needs to be fixed, and it will be fixed. I don't know whether we're going to do. I think it will be plus and minus. Because green and red, like for colorblind, it's a bit bad. 100%. But plus or minus, I think that we're going to do that to make it like super crystal clear. Yeah.
So, any final thoughts from anyone before I get you to rank this game? We do something here, Geordie, where we rank every single game that we play throughout the year and then re-rank them at the end of the year to get a list of everything that we played. We try not to do it based on what is one game is better than another, because that is hard to do, but just if given the opportunity, what you would prefer to play. So I'll let everyone give their final thoughts before we do that. It's going to be a little bit hard because we don't have the board here, but we'll give it an out of 10 and then rank it on the board later on. Any final thoughts from everyone?
I'll go first. Cool game, good game. Go back it on Kickstarter, as I have just now while we've been talking.
I have been trying to open Kickstarter, and my freaking Chrome is being difficult.
Nice.
Thoroughly enjoy the game.
It's good enough to get Reese to back it, then it's a good game.
Yeah, exactly. Very good game. I loved it. So,
Kai or Chris?
I'll say it's obvious that a lot of thought and consideration has gone into how this game plays out, and I really appreciate that it's a very cerebral game. The game itself is not very complicated or complex, but it's rather when and how you play and with whom you play that really brings that level of complexity that I enjoy in a game. So I would say it's really easy to pick up, but really hard to master. So that's my thoughts on the game. I thought it was very, very good.
Beck?
It's tough for me because I was like, I feel like if I'd done so many different things, I would have won. And I'm a petty enough person where if I don't win, sometimes I think that impacts on how much I like the game. It was actually a really enjoyable game, and I'm not kidding when I say I absolutely wanted to go ahead and just replay it, because I was like, if I can try something else, I would like to see how that would impact it. Because of that, what that does do is I know that will put that pretty much square on with like Power Grid for me. Not that I can tell where it is on the board, but it's like it's one of those games where you finish it and I'm like, all right, how can I do better? And having the win condition just be like one thing makes it super easy just to put this at like an easy.
Yeah,
like,
there's no
7 or 8 out
endgame
of
scoring
10.
or anything else. It's just straight up.
There's no you have to keep track of how many political leaders you have. You don't have to keep track of how many PR consultants you have. It's like just how much money do you have? And because it is that simple, it's very easy for me to put this at like a 7 because it's like it's just so easy to pick up. Like we were looking at the rule books and I was like, I'm lost. This is it. I'm out. No hope for me. I'll be sitting around those $3 million marks, and then like to go from that to finish in third because it's literally just make money. That's it. So easy 7 out of 10 for me.
Kai?
Yeah, I like a lot about this game. I like that it's a take that I feel like it's a good, like we talk about like good intros to, intro to deck building, intro to area control, intro to this, that, and the other thing. I think it's a good intro to take that games because once you know the rules, again, it's not an overly complicated game to play. It's just learning the interaction side of things and coming to grips with, having to deliberately sabotage other players, which I think for a lot of new people to board games might be a little bit almost alien in a sense if they've played, some other games previously. So I think this is a good intro to take that games that I would be quite happy to be the first one to bring out before getting into like, I don't know, Spartacus or something, which is even more backstabby. So I think it's a really good point of complexity with the take that mechanics in there and in the interaction. I really like the art. One thing that I sort of noticed, but I didn't mention earlier, is I like how there's not a whole lot of the sort of boring normal primary colors. Like the player colors aren't just red, yellow, green, blue. I like that there's in
any game that you can be the orange player, I'm happy.
Yeah, the whole aesthetic of it, I really enjoy. Just looking at it, it's really good to look at. I think that the only nitpicks was the only one that sort of gameplay wise that I had was the same one that Beck brought up, which was that occasionally it felt a bit like, well, they're going to take my guy and there's nothing I can do about it. But that's kind of inherent in a take that. I think it is just sort of part of it. There were times when it felt, especially for me personally at the start of the game, that I sort of was getting pounded into a hole that was hard to get out of, but eventually I did get out of it. So it was only frustrating for those first sort of 3 or 4 turns when I was getting beat on, and then I quickly turned it around and started stabbing other people and ruining their lives. So it's it's just that tricky thing of being able to detach from a take that and not take it personally. But
yeah,
overall, really enjoyed it. As I say, for me personally, the only thing that I think would improve it is maybe being able to do those bribes with other players and just that sort of social aspect of it a little bit. But that is a different mechanic that isn't necessarily better or worse. It's just a preference. I like games where I can, do that sort of thing. But yeah, overall, I think I'd be putting it sort of a 7 or an 8 for me personally. I would really love to play it again, try some different strategies. I like that you don't control one faction on the board. Like, I'm not just playing as the government. I have to have a finger in every pie in case I lose all my government contacts and have to suddenly get in with the rebels. I need to have contingencies, so it's not just get my faction to cover the map. It's sort of keeping them almost at a delicate balance. So some really cool mechanics. Looks great.
Fingers crossed we can get it to the table before the end of the year. Reese, out of 10?
8.
8?
It's a solid game. I'd put it up there with like Wingspan, Power Grid, stuff like that.
For reference, Jordy, our board is currently very positively weighted. We don't have a game that's below like a 6 out of 10. So like 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 is still like very good for our board.
Yeah.
And Chris?
I'll keep it short. I think it was a very bold theme, a very mature theme, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It has real world implications and it raises a lot of questions that are sort of more on the serious tone. And I think the gameplay reflected that almost perfectly. I can't think of a better way to have done it. You're essentially manipulating factions and turning them against one another for your own profiteering. So I think it was very, very clever and very well designed in that way. The game itself was super, super fun. I tend to rank games much more positively than the other nerds of the West because I don't know why. I can sort of sit back and enjoy a game. I don't want to call myself a nice guy. I just think that like when I recognize that a game is good, I want to make sure that I rank it. You know, like it's a good game. I want it to be recognized that it's a good game. So, without being too much of a nice guy, I would definitely give this game a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think there are like unless you're going to add an entire new mechanic like the sort of across the table bribery with other players, unless you're going to actually physically change the game as what it is excellent. I cannot give a more resounding and positive review. Perhaps, yes, there are some cosmetic issues with the nameplates on the Tabletopia version. Perhaps they could have been plus and minus symbols, but you know those can be easily rectified, and the game itself fundamentally is very good. So yeah, that's what I'd give.
Well, I think everything that I want to say has been said. I give it a solid 8 out of 10, which we will put this on our board when we're back in the studio next week. Any final words from you, Geordie, before we send off and finish our stream?
Yeah. Just first of all, thank you guys for playing and sharing your thoughts about the game. That's all. That's what I told you before, that the game is not like written in stone. It can always change, and we really appreciate the feedback. Also, we appreciate the exposure in these final days of Kickstarter.
Yes, it is the last couple of days. Please jump on it. Highly recommend.
Yeah. I just did.
Thank you. And nothing, just for people who are watching, go check it out. And you can get also some information about the previous titles if that's the type of game that you would like. You know, the other games have different mechanics, but they all have the same aesthetics. They all have that player interaction and those contemporary themes. So if that's right up your alley, I invite you to look them up.
Easy.